shelter from the storm, huh?
and Moulton.
Yeah, sounds like a song.
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
All guests appear on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Hotline. Goldberg-Law.com.
Yes! Oh, I like it.
It's up to you now. It's up to you.
I like it.
Now, the best local sports show this town has ever heard. Here's Miller and Moulton.
You're live. How the heck are ya? Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. We're streaming at foxsportsfm.com, and we're broadcasting live, as we always are. We don't take days off. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch TV. How are you?
I'm tired.
You got some sun.
Yeah, I played a lot of golf this weekend.
Good for you. Nice job. How'd you do?
We did really well Saturday.
Okay. I'm assuming, however, you then continued to play on
We were
Sunday.
the day one leaders.
Well, look at that. Nice job. Yeah, it's nice to get a taste of it again. You know, and you fall apart like a cheap suit. Maybe next time you got a big event coming up in like a week and a half. Maybe, you know, now you're ready.
Big stretch. This was the member.
Big stretch. Right.
Member guest club championship all coming up in the next 6 weeks.
Right. It's kind of like
big stretch around here.
It's kind of like Players, Masters, PGA. Right.
I'm glad you understand.
I went back home, spent a couple days in the New York metropolitan area. Got a chance to see my mom, did a little work, did an FGCU doubleheader, a couple of radio shows, had some nice meals with Mom. So it was a nice little 52-hour trip or something thereabouts.
You definitely take a lot of them.
Well,
You're a jet setter.
I don't know about jet setter, but I'm a worker. That is for sure. But, you know, when you get a chance to, cram in a visit with Mom in and around some work, you do it.
Well, yeah, you were going to see Mom a lot more until the 2 radio shows came into play.
Right. But it's because of the days that's why I said yes to the radio shows. I did an overnight show Friday, but I mean, that basically is a Saturday morning show. It was basically a show on February 22nd. Well, I mean, that's the 40th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. So to be able to continue our morning discussion and actually do it 18 hours later on another show, I mean, to me, that's fun. I mean, to be able to continue to talk about the greatest sporting achievement in our nation's history, I mean, that's fun.
I got you.
And then the next day it was a fight, and I'm an old guy. I mean, a heavyweight championship fight that 3-4 people were interested in who are normally not interested. I mean, to be able to, I was working with a couple of 20-something-year-old producers. They literally, in their lifetimes, one's 23, one's 27, had never been engaged in any way towards a heavyweight championship fight. And then did the fight deliver? And we'll
from the sounds of it, it did. I did not make it. It was after
the best laid plans of mice and men.
Well, it was actually, I was planning on going with Mr. Cassio. I got a text from John around 9:00. No way, I'm doing this.
Oh, okay. Well, and then you're the first round leaders. Well, also, so you've got that, in which you're like, it's one thing if you just go out on Sunday and you spit the bit, but you can't stay out till 2-3 in the morning and spit the bit. You get yelled at.
You don't know very much about our team game because we were drinking Bloody Marys at 7:30 for an 8:00 tea time for Saturday.
No, I understand that.
And then that kept I had such a. In fact, we put on such a shift at the golf course that I got a good 3-hour nap after I got home.
But I do think that you bring pressure onto yourself if you then, when you show up Sunday morning, and if you're dragging and this, that, and the other thing, oh, yeah, well, I went out and I, for the fight and blah, 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 and I didn't get home till 1:30. And so then if you don't play well, you've kind of brought it on yourself.
Right.
I mean, if you drink all day and go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock and you're terrible on Sunday, well, you're not opening yourself up to controversy.
Right.
Right. You're just not very good that day at playing golf. You go out and watch a heavyweight championship fight.
But from those that I talked to that watched it, said Fury mauled him for 7 rounds, just bullied him, mauled him, was the man amongst the other boy in that fight. That Wilder, and they're so damn big, both of them.
Fury at 273, Wilder 231 is what they weighed in at. I mean, think about that.
But they're 6'8" and 6'9", I think, or
Yeah.
6'9" and 6'7". I mean, they're power forwards fighting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, Fury's even bigger than LeBron James. Yeah, big man.
Right.
Big
and I
man.
thought, and actually, I'm stealing this, so I'll give credit. Paulie, the producer from Dan Patrick, did describe it. He says one looks like the heavyweight champ, and the other one looks like a bouncer. And I think that's because Tyson Fury doesn't look like an athlete. He looks like, he does look a bit like a bouncer. He's just a rugged, gigantic, big farm boy type of guy. He's just a huge man.
Well, he did bounce Deontay Wilder all over that ring. And I think going forward, like maybe a year or so from now, is there a chance for a trilogy? The Busted Eardrum may be the opening for them to fight a third time because, and I didn't see it either, but Wilder had his eardrum busted in the second or third round, and you could only imagine the loss of equilibrium that you have when you suffer a busted eardrum. And so apparently he looked like a punch-drunk fighter for the last 4 or 5 rounds of the fight. Well, could that be easily explained by the busted eardrum, and therefore will Fury be in a position to give Wilder a third fight, which the public would conceivably buy, if you know what I mean?
And I think he would. I mean, he was very elegant in victory.
You mean in singing American Pie? He sang, for those that missed it, in the ring, Tyson Fury sang American Pie in its entirety with 10,000 Brits singing it with him at the MGM Grand. It was the greatest karaoke you've heard in a long time. I love the fact he sang every verse. That's not a short song.
No, and it's really not a song that ever needs to be sung by anyone.
And the verses...
We've all heard it too many times.
But I'm guessing you haven't heard it in a while. He's fun.
He's great.
He's going to sell tickets. And the 2 Brits are going to fight at one point, him and Anthony Joshua coming up. And now the only question is, where do you have the fight? Because in theory, it could be the greatest fight in the history of, the kingdom. So therefore, do you have it over at Wembley or the biggest damn place you can find over there? Or do you have to bring it to the States? And do you do Vegas? I mean, I wonder, do they put it in the new NFL stadium? I mean,
I don't know how those two don't fight at Wembley or at a soccer stadium. And I'm being serious. I think it would be borderline criminal to have that fight in this country. And I'm not joking when I get it. But here's the other side of it.
But you
if
all
they
know,
fight it over there,
yeah,
we'd get it at 7 o'clock p.m.
Well, that's true. In fact, we could get it at about
at 5.
4.
Right, yeah.
In the afternoon. I mean, if they want to have it at 9 o'clock at night. I mean, how late would they have it? But you just wonder, will the Benjamins dictate where it is the fight takes place?
Like with everything else, the NFL players don't want to play 17 games. Are they going to play 17 games?
Well,
yes.
It depends. If they let the rank and file vote, they will. But if the veterans have their say, they won't let it get out of committee. You know what I wonder? Just going to throw this out there. Jarrah's held some fights. And Cowboy Stadium, AT&T Stadium, holds about 102,000, including standing room. It's like 93,000 seats, and there's about 9,000 to 10,000 people that can stand on the concourses. Well, that's for a football game.
Yeah, they put another 10,000 on the floor, probably.
Oh, easy. I mean, how many people you think you can get on a football field with a boxing ring in the middle of it?
I'd say between 8,000 and 10,000.
And I think it'd be more. So, and I just wonder, will it move to the States because of dollars, as opposed to being held over there? And if so, then where do they hold it? Can they really put it in a 20,000-seat arena when there's a 90,000-seat stadium in London going, we'd really like to have it? So I'm almost wondering, do they need to find a football field?
Yes, but these fights are, like you know this, David, they're not made by the ticket sales. Those ticket sales will certainly help, but the difference between 20 and 70,000 seats isn't where the money's made on these babies.
No, but I'll tell you what, we all know 50,000 Brits will travel to see the fight. I mean, that's another reason why I think they may want to have it at a stadium.
And it's why Vegas is the spot. They want them in Vegas for the weekend.
New football field. Don't you have to put it there? I mean, MGM, why limit it to 20,000 Brits when you can have 50,000?
No problems. Sure.
But my understanding is that it was enough of a show that people are excited that they're all in on this guy. That those who haven't been in on boxing, and you were one, and I referenced you even on the show. I said, hey, I do a radio show with a guy who was done. Okay, the Triple G, Canelo fight, and he says, ridiculous decision. I'm done with boxing. Never mind the fact he was turned off by the Mayweather-Pacquiao pay-per-view a few years before that and all that. He said, I'm done with boxing. That's it. This one is, and I said, you were planning on going out, all right? And so this one roped him in. I go, this fight's got to deliver. Got to deliver for the heavyweight division.
And by all accounts, it did.
Yes.
By all accounts, it did. And my buddy who watched it is an MMA guy. And he gets literally every MMA fight. And he got this fight and couldn't get to me fast enough on Sunday morning to talk to me about the fight.
Well, there you go.
That to me bodes well for the fight.
Yes. For those of us that are boxing fans, never mind. I mean, your buddy, how old is he? Is he our
50.
age?
Yeah,
okay.
He's between you and I think.
And for those out there, it may be a little early since this is the baseball hour for the older
the baseball
audience.
hour is kind of the boxing hour.
Well, and then there's that. But, this is also for those under the age of, I don't know. Were you really into Lewis and Klitschko? Did the Klitschko's do it for you? Did the Lennox Lewis reign do it for you? I think the last great boxing era was late 80s with Tyson into the early mid-90s of Bowe and Holyfield.
I remember the ear-biting fight.
And that was late 90s.
Right. That was before I moved to Southwest Florida.
Right.
I actually watched that fight with a bunch of Carolina Hurricane staffers, a friend of mine that owned a bar in Raleigh. And I remember that being the last heavyweight fight in which you were going to someone's house, paying for it, and we were going to all watch.
And I was intrigued by two fights in the 2000s. Lewis fought Tyson. And now Tyson was near the end, but you knew Tyson still had the power. If he hit you, he could take you out. And Lewis had been hit. Rockman took him out. And so I'm thinking to myself, does Mike have a chance here? Could he pull a Foreman in which he puts two combinations together at some point in the fight and he steals the title? Well, obviously he didn't. He got the beat out of him. And the Lewis-Klitschko fight intrigued me. And Klitschko was winning it until a cut and the whole deal, and Lewis retained his title. But, that's it. Those are two fights that intrigued me. I was not as in on those fights as I was in on this fight Saturday. Two guys combined who were 71-0-2. Two guys combined who weighed 504 pounds.
Well, I think that's the other part of it that really hit me is just how damn big these heavyweights are. We've never really seen heavyweights of this size. Klitschko seemed to be bigger. The Klitschkos were kind of bigger than everyone.
They were. Yeah.
And then that's what made their run not as fun. They just seemed to be so dominant because of their size.
And it seemed like they weren't fighting anybody that had any quality either. It's one thing, Larry Holmes got criticism in the 80s for who he fought. Well, he fought everybody. Now, you could argue just how good was everybody. I actually think if you look back, some of those fighters were a lot better than they were given credit for. But the fighters that the Klitschkos went through really were not any good.
And they fought a lot of fights in Europe, and we didn't
Right.
see them.
No. I mean, the one Klitschko had a following in L.A. He used to fill Staples Center, but that's about it. So, I mean, maybe, Mark, for the first time in a generation, we have the rebirth of the heavyweight division. You could see where Fury and Joshua are going to fight November. You could see where that happens, where Fury gets to have one fight in May or June against the opponent he's going to destroy, but he gets to go back home, fight there, take his bow, get all the enduring love, and then Joshua will have a tune-up fight as well, and then they can get it on probably in November somewhere. And then we see whether or not we get a rematch in 2021. We see whether or not if Fury wins, does he go back to Wilder to complete a trilogy? You know, I mean, we could see maybe for 12 to 18 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, 2
And
years.
We got some heavyweight
because if he fights
interest.
Joshua, it would be a year before he would fight Wilder. So really from 2 straight years, we could have a heavyweight division that's worth talking about.
And we've been doing this show now for 15 years, basically,
Right.
with a hiatus in the middle. Have we ever talked to heavyweights?
No.
We used to have the late, great Burt Sugar on our show regularly, and one of his go-to lines was you could put the heavyweight division in a lineup and people wouldn't be able to identify them.
That's right. No doubt about it. And that is a good day for boxing. We've said it a long time. The heavyweight division drives the sport. And now they have somebody on top who is charismatic, who has a bad voice, and a good punch.
Miller and Moulton. 40 years ago this morning, Mark, we
Yes.
were all getting up to watch a hockey game.
Yes, we were.
Many who did not watch on the Friday night because, well, they had no chance to win on Friday night, so there was no reason to watch. But they were
There
all
were really
in.
people that didn't watch on Friday. 'Cause
Well, they were busy, and yeah, there were people that I know who did not watch on Friday.
really?
Yep. But they were all in on Sunday morning. We all knew what was at stake on Sunday morning. Win the gold, lose, and just about anything could happen. There was even a chance.
There's a chance they would not medal.
Right. Had to have a perfect storm. They had to lose to Finland by 2 or more goals, and Russia and Sweden would have had to play to a tie.
Right, but there was
But
a
there-
path for no medal for the U.S.
But that was the path, correct. And as it turned out, if they did not beat Finland, they would have won the silver. That the Soviet Union would have, after their lowest moment in a 35-year span of hockey, they would have been able to win the gold because they took care of Sweden rather easily. But the U.S. played, it was like 10:30 in the morning. They played Finland. Imagine people getting up in the time zones heading west, getting up to watch a hockey game in the dead of winter at 7:30, 8:30 in the morning.
2 things I remember about this vividly. One is that it was 10:30 in the morning and it was Finland. But 2, hockey back then you wore your whites at home.
Right.
And the U.S. was wearing their darks for the
After-
game against Finland after they wore their whites to beat Russia.
Right. I was totally with you. And they came out on the ice, and the first thing I said was, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right.
What? The laundry not work? I mean,
I'm telling you, that was the thing I remember. I'm 10 years old. I'm going, what are they doing wearing the blue?
didn't have enough coins, all right, for the laundry machine? What? Couldn't get them cleaned in time?
I mean, you had 2 days for crying out loud.
I mean, you just beat the Soviet Union, and you're not going to duplicate everything? I mean, I'd find a way to put the old tape back on.
But they probably couldn't. I mean, that's like everything else. Teams are designated the home. Now, how can you not be the home team when you're the United States playing a game in the United States?
I give ESPN a lot of credit last night. It made for a great flight because I was on an airplane for about 3 hours, and they lined up the 30 for 30s and or the special documentaries that they have done. And, they showed Miracle from 7 to 9. Then they taped recently a special Miracle on Ice at 40, where it was Jeremy Schaap with Mike Eruzione, with Jim Craig, and with Mark Johnson. And Mark Johnson scored 2 goals against the Soviets in the 4-3 win. And so it was the 3 of them and with Jeremy Schaap, and then they watched the game together, and the cameras were running and the commentary and all that. And then that was an interesting hour. You picked up a few nuggets where even if you've watched a lot of everything, you're like, oh, okay. Didn't realize that. And confirmation, by the way, on the Herb Brooks story. 40 years ago this morning, heading into the third period. Confirmation from all three of them. They were all describing exactly how it went down. Mark Johnson said, we're not panicking. We were down 2-1, and there was such a calmness about us. We were like looking at one another. No one was saying anything, but we were looking at one another like, so how are we, going to find a way to win this one? There was no doubt we were going to win. It was just kind of like, okay, how are we going to win? And then Herb came in and gave his short but sweet speech. But then they aired from 10 to 11 last night, and it might have even gone a little bit longer. They aired a 30 for 30 that was done from the Soviet perspective.
It's phenomenal. Because I've watched all the other ones so many times. The 30 for 30 done from the Soviet perspective is to me just staggeringly good.
Fetisov returned to Lake Placid for the first time as part of it, and he brought his daughter with him. And he even said, he goes, I remember vividly all the other Olympics that I played in, and this one's a little foggy. And by going into Lake Placid, she kept asking him, do you remember this? No. Remember this? No. When he walked into the arena, he goes, it's coming back now. And when he walked into the dressing room, which I guess they've remained intact, and he walked in and he's like, oh, yeah. And there was a really eerie moment. It's just the two of them, him and his daughter, and she goes and sits down. And she kind of wandered away from him, and he's staring around at the locker room, and she goes and sits down in front of a locker.
His?
And he goes, why'd you sit there? And she goes, I don't know. And he goes, that was my locker. So, and then it all started coming back. But so ESPN, I thought, did a terrific job last night of playing everything they had in their vault,
right?
If you know what I mean, about the entire weekend that was. But it was this morning, 40 years ago, we were getting ready to watch a hockey game in the dead of winter in most of the U.S. against Finland. And we had all become hockey experts, Mark, in less than 48 hours.
Oh, there's no doubt. There is no doubt. I do remember this Sunday morning pretty vividly because it was the dead of winter. It was I'm in Michigan. It's cold.
Yeah, it's February 24th.
And there's nothing really to do but have some pancakes and watch some hockey.
Yeah, screw the groundhog. It doesn't seem like winter's coming in. Spring's coming anytime soon. No.
And I'm guessing sometime after that, there were probably more street hockey games going on across America than ever before. I mean, you've got to believe that a lot of people were out playing in the driveway by 1.
I started playing street hockey shortly after the 1980 Olympics. Well, I had played it beforehand, but you're right. You're darn right. You went back out. Plus, the game was over by 1 o'clock.
That's what I mean. Yeah. by 1 o'clock, there was street hockey going on everywhere in this country.
Miller and Moulton. And we talked a little bit about it on Friday heading into the weekend. This is one of those weekends in which if you're of a certain age, you remember where you were when, and the memories come flooding back. A lot of nuggets. A lot went on over the weekend.
What you keep telling me. I have never been this fired up for the starting 5 because I don't have a clue. I've asked you twice, what are we talking about? You a lot, one at a time. Okay, yeah. What?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
You could talk about it basically every damn sport.
Great.
We could do
I'll
segments.
Go off of you.
We could do segments. Next segment, baseball. What happened? I'll tell you next.
Well, it is the baseball, boxing, and horse racing hour.
Horse racing feels left out. Here on Miller and Moulton.
Secretariat. We'll interview him next.
Let me tell you something. That's now I'm impressed. Now you can be ranked in between Mickey Mantle and Oscar Robertson in ESPN's 50 greatest athletes of all time. If you can do the post-race interview, you can make the list. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
Sometimes we just gotta take a moment.
That's what we got to do.
Take that deep breath
Take a breath and relax.
I'm very relaxed.
and say, damn, we're living
Yeah.
our best life.
No, it's been a while.
From the MLB
So actually, you know what? I don't know if I've seen
to the
the 18-0
NFL
one. That might be different. Yeah,
to the NBA. We're all laughing and just living and
So-
loving all of this.
Love it.
On Fox Sports Radio.
Blue Emu Deep Penetrating and Odor-Free Formula supplies healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu works fast, and you won't stink.
Lee County Elections wants to make sure you're election ready for the March 17th presidential preference primary. If your name, address, or signature has changed, you need to update your information with our office. To do so, visit lee.vote. That's lee.vote or call 239-533-8683. That's 239-533-8683.
Boaters Landing, where you'll find the latest in Four Winds outboard-powered bow riders from 20 to 35 feet. You'll also find Four Winds boats carrying one of the best warranties in the business. The Four Winds factory warranty is not just any 3-year warranty. It covers material, labor, and most boat components for 3 years. Four Winds boats, designed for families and saltwater. Boaters Landing, delivering the dream for over 30 years.
Listen to the Dan Patrick Show at work.
Never boring, that's for sure.
Streaming 24/7 at foxsportsfm.com.
We are Fox Sports.
Cathedral Roofing Innovations. Now, Hurricane Irma was a long time ago, but believe it or not, problems with tile roofs, they continue to occur as a result. Now, many homeowners are just now feeling the effects of the hidden damage that occurred to their tile roof. Now, whether it's new leaks, cracked, unsecured tiles, these roofs are living on borrowed time. Now, tile roofs, by nature of their design, are susceptible to lift and powerful storms like hurricanes. When this occurs, your tile underlayment can be compromised, but you would not realize it until possibly years later. Now, with Cathedral Roofing Innovations, you get a great roofing company to inspect your roof for any damage, and just because you don't have leaks doesn't mean you don't have issues. Just go to cathedralroofingnaples.com. They are the tile experts in Naples, and they will start the inspection process right away. Just go to cathedralroofingnaples.com. Cathedralroofingnaples.com.
License number CCC 1331928.
Are you or a loved one suffering from alcohol addiction? Now you can obtain alcohol detox from the comfort of your own home with Tella Psychiatry Associates and their My Home Detox program. Get monitored by doctors 24/7 using their advanced technology. No in-home nursing or detox centers needed. It's private, affordable, and effective. Connect with a medical center and be on your way to recovery in a matter of days. Get clean discreetly and conveniently at myhomedetox.com.
The only thing I saw was that little graphic post.
Welcome to the Alamo Gun Range of Naples. Are you a first-time shooter with a lot of questions and need training? The Alamo Gun Range of Naples is here for you. With our clean, comfortable, and relaxing atmosphere and a staff that's certified and trained to provide you with the answers and training you need to get started, you'll feel right at home. The Alamo Gun Range of Naples. Naples' premier indoor gun range and firearms superstore.
And they didn't like that we were really critical. You know, I always wondered.
Now back to Miller and Moulton.
Why? No.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
It's 6:30 straight up on this Monday morning, the 24th of February. Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com, broadcasting live. Yes, we are. Many a place, including on the new Miller and Moulton YouTube and Twitch TV channels. Please sign up for Bull. 249-8167 is the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line, 249-8167. And you commented after our show on Friday, and we'll get to the starting five here shortly. You commented after our show on Friday that the remembrances that were coming in Friday morning when we were talking about, hey, it was on a Friday. It'll officially be the anniversary tomorrow, Saturday. But, you know, it's 40 years since the Miracle on Ice. And you said, man, some of the stories that we were getting, some of the longer paragraphs.
Yeah, and I mean, they came right in through Friday and into Saturday of people watching, people like just a text late Friday, watching Miracle USA with the flag. People were all in, and definitely the remembrances were great of just people wherever they were in the country. I think we've literally had people from coast to coast, Texas, that people were in California for the game, people were on the East Coast, the border towns of people that actually got to watch it live on CBC. As we've talked about, it was a tape-delayed game. And for a lot of us, we didn't even know it was a tape-delayed game.
No, Jim McKay told us. We're like, what? This thing's already been played? Of course, I don't know where you then go to find out the result. ESPN's 6 months old, and they don't have a crawl.
Didn't work yet.
All right. Well, it's funny. I never thought about using it. But it was in the New York metropolitan area, I remember the number was 976-1313. And so if you weren't calling from within that area, you had to attach a 9-something prefix. But a lot of remembrances coming in this morning about the Miracle on Ice, and today being 40 years since the Sunday morning game against Finland, in which we had to win if we wanted to be assured of the gold.
But I am very excited. I don't think I've ever been quite this revved up for the starting five.
The starting five. 5 big stories that you need to know. This is Miller and Moulton's starting five. Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
You're such a jerk. For those that are watching, Mark is, he's cozied up to the mic. He's turned his chair. He's facing me. He's looking at me.
I think I'm making him nervous.
No, you're not. I just want to poke you in the eye, though. Mark, let's talk a little football.
Let's do it.
That seems to get people's attention. The NFL player reps. Now, we got to go back to the end of last week when first the NFLPA's Executive Council voted 6-5 against the deal that they've negotiated with the owners. Well, it turns out that the player reps, there aren't the 22 votes there either. So they've put off a vote at least till tomorrow. And there's going to be a meeting at the Combine tomorrow. NFLPA wants to talk to the owners. Then they're going to want to talk amongst themselves. Most people feel there'll be a vote the earliest Wednesday. And it seems, Mark, as if the Executive Council and the player reps, the votes are not there. But the rank and file is like, from what we've been told, we want the deal. Now, the Richard Shermans and J.J. Watts of the world don't. But the rank and file, who are younger and or the middle class of the league, if you will, they're like, everything we're hearing, we love. One extra game, what do we care?
0.5%. And that's really, let's get it down to what it is. 48.5% or 48%.
And also the lower rung, of you will, of the NFL, they're like, from what I've been told, we're getting like $60,000 to $90,000 a year raises for the first 5 years of this deal. Our $550,000 minimum deals are going to become like $900,000 and $1 million by like 2025. Where do I vote me a $90,000 raise tomorrow? So this will be pretty interesting.
No, you can take the pretty out of it. This is fascinating, David, because this, I grew up in a weird house. My parents got divorced when I was 21. My mother remarried a union person. My dad was not. He was management. And I grew up, with GM union talks my whole life. And there have been times in regular work situations where the union's fighting for something that the actual people who work don't necessarily want or think they need. And this is a classic example of that. You've got the player reps who are hell-bent on this 17th game and have voiced their opinion as such, and that is it. There haven't been too many reasons why I've heard the player reps not like this deal other than the 17th game.
Right.
That's it.
They're very against it.
I am too, but there's 32 player reps who don't seem to like this. There's quite a few thousand NFL players that Like it a lot.
Yeah, we're fine. Just can we vote? Please, can we vote? From what I've heard, can we vote? So that's what's going on over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours. Couple of football notes from the weekend. Video emerged of Ben Roethlisberger throwing. Now, I mean, he wasn't running around and working out and throwing 30-yard outs or anything like that, but he was throwing. It's the first such video of Ben Roethlisberger throwing since he had the elbow surgery back in September. Ben, once the video emerged, said, give me 2 to 3 months. I think I'll be ready to go by essentially the end of May. So just throwing that out there. Remember, Eli's retired. Don't know if Phillip Rivers is coming back. Ben's part of the same class, coming off a major injury. So Roethlisberger's resuming throwing. And the Colorado Buffaloes have a new football coach. And his name is Carl Durrell. And he was the wide receivers coach of the Dolphins. He gets a 5-year, $18 million deal. That's 3.6 per. Carl Durrell was the head coach of UCLA in the mid-2000s. He was there 5 years. He took them to 5 straight bowls. Never really had a great team, though. His average season was like 7-5. But he is an interesting footnote in history, especially of what we've just gone through, Mark, in the last 15 years. And you and I, in a small way, we remember this vividly because we had just teamed up to do a show together in 2006, and 2006 was the year of Ohio State, Michigan. Should there be a rematch? And everybody remembers that Michigan didn't get the rematch and that Florida got a chance to play Ohio State for the national championship. But heading into that SEC championship, USC was number 3 in the country. Florida was 4. And USC was a 2-touchdown favorite at UCLA. And Carl Durrell was likely getting fired, except that he engineered the Bruins upsetting the Trojans. I believe 14-9, 13-9 was the score. And because of that, instead of it being the discussion of Michigan, USC, Florida, which Florida was not going to win, but once you took USC out of the equation, and it became Michigan or Florida playing Ohio State, people said, you know what, Michigan had their shot. Let's let the Gators have their turn. And that began the SEC run. If Carl Durrell's Bruins do not upset USC, Florida doesn't get in that game, and the SEC is still a regional conference, at least for another year. But that began the run, and that began the SEC on equal footing with everybody else. That's his place in football history.
Told you I was going to be riveted to this starting 5 today. Isn't everyone else?
Ross Chastain ran 3 races in Vegas, finished 14th in the trucks race, 10th in the Xfinity Series, and 27th in the Cup race. As he put it, I just kept making a bunch of mistakes out there on the restarts. I should have learned better. Joey Logano picked up the win, Mark. That's his 24th win. He's not yet 30. He's moved ahead of Ricky Rudd on the all-time wins list. If you ask most NASCAR fans, who's a better driver, Joey Logano or Ricky Rudd, I think a lot of them would say, oh, well, Ricky Rudd. Well, Joey Logano's got more wins, and he's 29 years old. In golf, I told you I wanted Patrick Reed on our team. I told you he was going to have a monster year. All the cheating allegations, etc.
And more of them, and he just goes out and makes 67 birdies over the weekend.
Come from behind win. He was 1 down with 4 to play, and he won the WGC event in Mexico. Boy, JT didn't play well on Sunday. Everybody else did. He was the one who had the lead. Shot a 2 over 73. Victor Hovland picked up his first win, expected to be the first of many. He wasn't in the WGC Mexico tournament.
He will be now.
Yeah, he will be for the rest of his days. He won the Puerto Rico Open by 1. George McNeil played some good golf down there. He's won down there before. He's played well. And he finished T35 at -9, won about $13,000. Mark, I don't know about you, but I love me a trade deadline.
Oh, we know you do, David.
And we got one today in the NHL, 4 o'clock.
Already had a decent little trade.
Ilya Kovalchuk, who's been a star before, he's not one now, but he got dealt from the Canadiens to the Washington Capitals. Kovalchuk now technically, did you see the little tidbit?
He is, taking up cap space on four NHL rosters right now.
Because apparently the Capitals were so up against the cap that the Canadians are having to assume like $75,000 of his salary onto their cap in order to make the deal. That's how little cap room that the Caps have. So, yes, Ilya Kovalchuk right now is on 4 teams' salary caps, and he is a member of the Caps. Trade deadline at 4 o'clock today, and it looks as if the Rangers are trading Chris Kreider. That will likely be the blockbuster deal of the day. Blades, who lost at home on Saturday but came back to win yesterday in Jacksonville. They scored the game winner with 23 seconds left. They won over the Icemen 5-4, so the Blades had a 2-1 weekend. Catch any of the Lakers-Celtics yesterday?
Not a second.
Well,
I know LeBron hit the shot for the win, and I know it was a good game, but
And Tatum had 41 for the Celtics to match his career high. Bill Russell was in attendance in a Kobe jersey, which, needless to say, stopped a few people in their tracks, and he had a very nice tweet that he sent out, and the Lakers as an organization were clearly moved by the gesture. The memorial, the public memorial for Kobe and Gigi is today at Staples. Lakers edged the Celtics 114-112, and don't sleep on Zion and the Pelicans.
It's a nice win last night.
He had 28. They beat Golden State by 14. There's 25 games left in the season for the Pelicans. They're 3.5 back of Memphis for the final playoff spot. Then the Grizz are 28-28. So just keep an eye on the Pelicans, who have already passed 2 teams since Zion has returned, and there's only 1 team between them and the Grizz.
And as we mentioned, sorry, Dave, but as we talked about with Matt Moscona last week, is that, they've got a tough schedule, but it's one of the easier ones in the West. They had a couple of trips. They got to play Lakers-Clippers, but they do have one of the lighter Western Conference schedules on the way in. That is the Pelicans.
Well, after upset Saturday in college basketball, where numbers 1, 2, and 4 all lost, granted, number 1 Baylor lost at home to number 3 Kansas, but still, number 2 Gonzaga lost, and number 4 San Diego State also lost. That was all on Saturday. Yesterday, Mark, once again, really tough to win on the road. Number 7 Maryland went to Ohio State. Buckeyes are technically ranked at 25th. Yeah, Terps lost 79-72. Number 9 Penn State went to Indiana, lost 68-60. And Butler's nationally ranked, but so's Creighton, and Creighton was at home, and they won by 22, 81-59. There's a team you may want to circle. We've still got a few weeks until the tournament, but let me tell you, if the tournament were starting right now, the Creighton Blue Jays are rolling, and they can score. They're one of the best shooting teams in the country. They're one of the best scoring teams in the country. In a day and age, and particularly this year, where shooting percentages and scoring is a bit shaky, the Creighton Blue Jays can score points. They're a team that bears watching come tournament time. They probably, if they keep it up, Mark, going to be a top 4 seed in a region. Baseball news today. The spring training games have already started. The Red Sox, they're playing 2 today, both on the road. They're in Charlotte against the Rays. They're across town playing the Twins, and the Braves are on the road as well. They are playing the Blue Jays in Dunedin. Dustin Pedroia, Mark, his career is likely over. He suffered a setback a couple months ago, trying to finish out his contract and play second base. He was placed on the 60-day IL over the weekend, the 36-year-old. I think he's played his last game. And how would you feel, Mark, if you were the GM of the Arizona Diamondbacks? Did you catch this story? Madison Bumgarner, who they signed as a free agent. They gave a 5-year deal to.
Right.
They got him a little bit on the cheap, though. He wanted the years more than the money.
Right.
So they gave him the 5 years, and they didn't even have to pay him $100 million. Yeah, Bumgardner likes his rodeo. So much so, he's gone incognito, and we don't mean Richie, to compete in some rodeo contest.
Are you talking about Mason Saunders?
Correct.
Is that who you're referring to?
AKA Madison Bumgardner. Yes.
Yeah, Saunders won $26,560 in a team roping rodeo competition back in December.
Right. Right when he was negotiating a deal as Madison Bumgardner with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Uh-huh. How would you feel if you were the GM? Remember, this is a guy whose career was significantly set back. I think it was 3 years ago when he suffered it. I think he was racing ATVs and he fell and injured his pitching shoulder.
On a dirt bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And injured his pitching shoulder. Right. And he has not been the same pitcher since. He was a dominant pitcher before the injury. Since, he's just been good.
Well, for what it's worth, he says he uses his right hand to rope.
Okay. I mean, listen, if I'm the GM, hey, dude, I'm fine with it. But the wording in the contract, yeah, we're not going to pay you if you get hurt, just so you know. You want to keep roping.
Yeah, he's not happy he got caught. I mean, that's really the problem with this.
He's angry he got caught. He's going by a fake name.
And he's getting his picture published.
Right. I mean,
after winning.
Come on, dude. I mean, you won 3 games in the 2014 World Series. You're a little bit of a big deal. I mean, a little bit. Come on now. Oh. And that, Mark, is...
The starting 5 big stories that you need to know. This is Miller and Moulton starting 5. Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
12 minutes before 7 o'clock. When we come back, we've got a hockey story that's even better than the Miracle on Ice, at least from this past weekend. Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
All right.
Players on other teams.
I will explain. How can a 0.5% increase in cap equal 20% on the minimum salary? Well, there's a few reasons. The biggest one is what the TV contracts are going to be.
Your own union
because this new CBA does not kick into effect until the new TV deals are coming.
I have not heard
players say, the reason there's going to be an increase is that they're going to get huge money out of these TV deals. And the 0.5% is a percent of the total money. That's why the numbers would never, one could not equal the other. That makes sense.
In Naples. TJ, we hear you've added several new colors of
the early figures were wrong, but the 0.5% is $100 to $125 million more per year for the players. Now you got to divide that up amongst nearly 2,000 players. So it's not really the money that you think. I mean, is that 10,000 a player, 100,000 a player? I mean, that's pretty much what it comes to there.
We also carry the Cortex Stone product. Looks like tile.
But it's the increase in the pool.
The softness, quietness.
Yeah, they'll get a raise without the 0.5%, but it's not going to be as much.
Look of wood, real wood, but with a more stable core for Southwest Florida's humidity.
I'm trying to do the math here.
If you haven't been to the Floormeisters, you really owe it to yourself to visit the store. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go online, floormeisters.com. That's floormeisters.com.
Get your tickets now. Naples All-Star Events presents the Legends of Basketball. Meet and greet Monday, March 16th from 4 to 6 p.m.
I mean, it's about 50 to 60,000 a player is what it is. So that's where the raises come from.
Your exclusive access not only includes the Hall of Famers, but an appetizer buffet, prizes, and more. A portion of the proceeds to benefit Veterans Healthcare. Meet and greet the Legends of Basketball, March 16th at Bo Camper's Sports Bar and Grill. Get your tickets at NaplesAllStarEvents.com.
For professional roofing, the name you need to know is D.R. Martineau. You can count on us for great service. You can count on us to get it done. You can count on us for a price that's fair. The quality is second to none. For professional roofing, the name you need to know is D.R. Martineau.
Are you or a loved
8
one
a.m.
suffering
tea time.
from alcohol addiction?
2,
Now you can
3.
obtain
I mean,
alcohol
it was
detox
cold.
from the comfort of your own home with
Saturday
Tunnel
morning?
Psychiatry
Oh, yeah.
Associates
Well,
and
you
their
left
My
Friday. I
Home
mean, it
Detox
just kept
program.
going down.
Get monitored
So
by
it's
doctors
49 degrees.
24/7 using their
We're out there,
advanced
and it's-
technology.
well, I get up in the
No
morning to
in-home
walk the
nursing or
dog.
detox
It's
centers needed.
lower.
It's private, affordable,
Like when 5
and
o'clock
effective.
and it's
Connect
just
with a
whipping up
medical
like,
center
oh,
and be
boy,
on your way to
this is gonna be
recovery
fun.
in a matter of days. Get clean discreetly
proceeds
and
to
conveniently
run
at
72
myhomedetox.com. myhomedetox.com.
Ever purchased
Our
an online
net
item
score.
and either it doesn't fit, has
We
missing
were
parts,
4
or
because he
became
gets 3
damaged?
shots. We had
Trying to
68.
save
I
a
helped
few
him
bucks
with
can end
one
up
shot.
costing more.
I
My
made a
Shower
5-4
Door is a
and par
locally
5.
owned and
He made
operated
5-5.
family business.
Only
that
shot I
measures,
helped him on the
manufactures,
entire
and installs our own
Yesterday,
brand
I
of
actually
frameless
played
shower
pretty good.
doors right here in Southwest Florida. And we were just named Lee County's Manufacturer of the Year. With almost 80,000 shower doors installed, we have the experience and expertise. Plus, estimates are always free. Want to see more? Go to myshowerdoor.com.
Now back to Miller and Moulton.
All right, now we're getting somewhere.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live. 8 minutes before 7 o'clock, Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. By now, I'm guessing more than a few of you have heard about the Zamboni driver who got the win. Did you hear this story?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you said you were out of it most of the weekend playing golf, but this is right up your alley here. You're pretty familiar with the whole emergency goalie.
Yes.
We had the business guy in Chicago, it was 2 years ago, who got pressed into service in the third period of a Blackhawks game, stopped every shot he
Stopped
faced.
10 shots or something like that.
Right, in the final 14 minutes. Well, we had the 42-year-old Zamboni driver in Toronto named David Ayres, who the irony was he had to help fill in not for Toronto, but for Toronto's opponent, the Carolina Hurricanes.
By NHL rule, you have to have an emergency backup goaltender on hand for every game who is the emergency backup goaltender for both teams. In this case, Carolina gets both of their goaltenders hurt, and this Ayres comes in.
42 years old. He had a kidney transplant in 2004, the kidney provided by his mother. He hasn't played a competitive hockey game in any league of any kind in years. The last time he played, he started 8 games. He went 0-8 with a goals against over 7. And that was in a league, quite frankly, I've never heard of. And you and I pay attention to these leagues. I had never heard of this league. Yeah. He faced the Toronto Maple Leafs, one of the 5 best offensive teams in the league.
I mean, the beer league shooters are a little tougher.
Well, sometimes, though, they're on their game. He gave up goals on the first 2 shots he faced, and so suddenly the game is tied. And then over the final period and a half, he doesn't allow a single goal. Carolina rallies and wins 6-3. 42-year-old Zamboni driver. Kidney transplant. Right.
He is being brought to Carolina
Today.
They have their siren that they sound off when the tee comes on the ice. Then they usually have a local celebrity or of the like do it. He will be doing the siren. They are also selling T-shirts that bear his name. All the money raised from the T-shirts are going to a kidney foundation of David Ayres' choosing. So
he did about 6 big interviews yesterday, many platforms. He's got about 12 lined up today. The PR person released his schedule for yesterday and today, and he does those 12 interviews, and then he hops on a plane to Raleigh, and then, they're going to literally roll out the red carpet for him there, and next time they play a game, they're going to bring him out and the whole deal.
Yeah, David Ayres Day in Raleigh, they named it and all that stuff. Great story.
There's conflicting reports. The standard contract that the emergency goalie signs is $500. You get to keep the jersey. Because that's the other thing. He came out in a number 90 jersey. I mean, that screams spring training minor league outfielder, doesn't it? So, but apparently the contract he signed called for him to get paid nothing. So there's some dispute as to whether he's getting the $500 or not.
That is bizarre to me Because, for instance, I remember Randy Petruk played for the Everblades one year. Carolina had a goaltender go down. We were their AA affiliate. They were playing the Florida Panthers. And they basically just said, drive over.
Yeah, get in the car, drive over.
Because we're not flying someone down who's not going to play. Well, Randy was called up. For one day, he got his NHL money. I think it's a crock that this guy gets fired. I know it's the league thing, but I mean, I don't care.
Well, because there's apparently two kinds of contracts. There's the emergency goalie $500 contract, and then I guess what he signed was a workout agreement. Like, I don't know if they didn't have the paperwork ready or what have you. And before he could put on the pads and what have you and go out, it's like, here, you got to sign this.
Got to sign something.
So technically, he signed a piece of paper that calls for him to get a tryout. Well, the tryout was live against the Leafs. So that's technically what he signed. I'm sure they'll give him the money, but Darren Ravel tweeted out a picture of what it is that he signed, and it clearly says tryout, zip, zilch, nada. But it's an awesome story.
It really is. It really is. And the fact that he did it to beat the Leafs is so great.
And he's from there, too.
Well, yes.
And he practiced, obviously, he drives the Zamboni for their AHL affiliate, the Marlies. He's been a practice goalie for both the Leafs and the Marlies before. I mean, he knows the guys. You see the video? The Leafs guys were tapping him on the pads in between the second and third periods. Like, hey, way to go, buddy. That's a great story. We all wish we could have that moment, right?
Absolutely. Miller and Moulton. We'll talk a little college hoop next hour. Thanks so much for listening. Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com. 47.
If a car dealer asks you for your tax refund, don't do it. If you've made a deposit, get it back. Gotta go to Galliana. Other dealers want your tax refund. At Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers, we don't need it.
Start
now during the President's Day event. New Jeep Renegade Latitude, $189 per month. New Grand Cherokee Laredo, $269 per month. New Jeep Gladiator Sport 4x4, $279 per month. Over 1,100 Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams. All at the absolute best prices in Southwest Florida. Qualifying purchases with zero down and no monthly payments till August. That's right, zero down and no monthly payments till August. And exclusive of that offer, Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers will give you $6,000 minimum for any trade in any condition, running or not, at Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 1/2 mile south of Daniels Parkway on US 41 in Fort Myers. Open every day, including Sunday. Call 239-481-2600. GallianaCars.com.
Like that 6-iron right through the arc. You know what I mean? Got to the other side. That's probably his best shot up on that point.
We're simple people.
So we drive.
I'm an idiot. And being simple means you understand what we do.
Wait a minute.
24 hours a day.
There were some moments.
For 19 years straight.
It's a very weird time to be alive.
That's where we're at right now. Hit us up.
We give you the best sports and entertainment talk on your radio.
I'm trying to create a little bit of drama here.
Imagine that.
And what I mean by that is
this is Fox Sports Radio.
Did you know that King Roofing has expert dedicated repair crews to troubleshoot roof problems? They can fix everything from tree damage to broken tiles and, of course, roof leaks. Do you have a leak or water stains or tile damage? Call King Roofing, a roofing company with the right team to repair it. King Roofing, experienced in roof repair for over 40 years.
License number CCC 057279.
Every castle deserves a king.
The sports station with balls. And strikes. We also have strikes. WFSX AM from Naples to Cape Coral and all of Southwest Florida. We are Fox Sports.
What's trending now on Fox Sports Radio is sponsored by Estate Roofing in Naples. Online at estateroofing.com.
Mushnick ripped Costas in his column yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. Basically said, listen, we haven't said anything meaningful in the last 10 plus years. You're 73 years old. They employed you for 30 years, and you're bitching? Shut up. It's an interesting take.
O'Meara was yesterday. He does voices great. I mean, he's like Haney. He's got a pretty good Bernie. If you ever need a burn, I'll Miller and Moulton. Then he would purposely say your name when he was doing yours. he was just saying it a little off. You know, it was.
That's funny.
Oh God.
There's only one way to wake up in the morning.
How the heck are you?
Yep, that's it. Miller,
Shelter from the storm, huh?
and Moulton.
Yeah, sounds like a song.
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
All guests appear on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Hotline. Goldberg-law.com.
It's up to you now. It's up to you.
Now, the best local sports show this town has ever heard. Here's Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
Couple minutes past 7 o'clock on this final Monday of February in 2020. Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming foxsportsfm.com, broadcasting live many a place, including on the new Miller and Moulton YouTube and Twitch TV channels. Please sign up for both. 249-8167 is the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line, 249-8167. It was 40 years ago this morning. It was a Sunday in which America got up and many put church on hold. You got to pass for the week because we had a hockey game to watch, 10:30 Eastern a.m., U.S. and Finland for the gold, essentially. It's also 20 days from today that March Madness gets underway. Selection Sunday is 20 days from now. Shelby Mast, our resident bracketologist from USA Today, he will join us to talk about who's in, who's out, seedings, the bubble, that sort of thing.
Sorry, I got caught up in a little at the end of the CBS this morning. Those are three great clips in a row there. Between Air, they showed David Ayers, the goalie, and a lot of that. They had the Kobe and Gianna thing, and then they go into the goaltender in Carolina coming into the locker room, getting doused by his teammates with beer and what have you, and then an 84-year-old lady at
Ole Miss men's basketball
halftime
game.
knocks down a putt.
94-foot putt, baseline to baseline.
For a car.
Yeah. She won a new Nissan by making that. It's not easy.
They should upgrade that to the Infinity. I mean, I got to be honest with you.
Come on, it's a car. I mean, I'm impressed. You're giving away a car. I mean, plus, we've all tried to make a 10, 12-foot putt in the living room. This is a 94-foot putt on a basketball court.
Oh, I know. That's slippery.
And which way does it break? They don't give you a practice putt, and they don't have anybody do a practice putt to give you an idea. I mean, you got to play it as straight, right?
It's got to be.
And you know it's probably not. It's a little off, so which side are you going to favor? I mean, it's like putting, I guess, the Masters for the first time. That's what that putt must feel like. That's how slick it is. So, good for her.
I've watched hockey players with that thing and see how many them try it and how long it takes them to make the shot.
I mean, just on the ice.
Yeah.
Right, never mind on a basketball court. So, good for her. 249-8167, 249-8167, Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line. So what do you think happens if this NFLPA thing falls apart in the next 48 hours?
Well, it seems like it's going to.
Well,
I mean, is there anything that leads you to believe it's not going to fall apart?
Well, let me ask you this. If guys don't change their mind, it's going to fall apart. The Executive Council has already voted against it, and obviously they did kind of an off-the-record, so if you had to vote today on the proposal, how would you vote amongst the player reps? And there ain't 22 yes votes there, that's for sure. So right now it's a no, and it's a no. That's just to get to the rank and file.
Which there's a good chance it passes if it gets to the rank and file.
In a big way. And it leads me to the question, if you were a player rep, is your job to essentially listen to the rank and file and
Yes.
do what they say? Or hey, you've been involved in the nitty-gritty of these negotiations. You're likely a veteran. You've been through other issues and things with the league before, and in which you're turning around to your rank and file going, hey, I'm telling you, you're making a mistake here. This is not a good thing.
Okay, hold on just 1 second. I want to stop you before you go too far because I have questions. When's the last time? When did we do our last CBA with these players?
It was about 9 years ago.
Okay, so I want to stop you and say that these guys have been through this. No, the odds are the player rep hasn't. No, actually, I could argue that none of these player reps have been through any of this before.
But they have been every step along the way during the last 18 months of negotiations. In theory, that they've been a part of.
I got you. But while they're veterans, they've not been a part of any labor problems. They've only been a part of this deal. And at the end of the day, if they're going to stick the player safety thing in the 17 games, first off, I'm the one who doesn't want 17 games. I want no part of 17 games.
Right.
I think it's a terrible idea.
You want to leave everything as is.
And I'm fine with the playoff. Because I think I would vote for none, but I can live with the 17 on each side in the playoffs. And I think the players, by getting that, the networks are going to give them more money. I think the networks are far more interested in a 7th playoff team than they are even a 17th game.
But the league is saying to you, yeah, you don't get the extra playoff team without the extra regular season game. You know, don't vote no on this and think that we're going to give you the 7th team and not make you play the 17th game.
Why? My first question would be just why?
Well, the first answer they're going to say is because, but the second answer they're going to say is we need both to sit down with the TV networks. If you just give us the 7th playoff team, that's not a lot of extra money. And it's really not a lot of extra money for you guys because you're going to have to divide this. First, we're going to split the money in half, and then you're going to have to divide half by 1,900 players. So it's not going to amount to much of anything for you guys.
Well, but it will. We all know the TV contracts are going to be ginormous compared to what they were before. And it was, as someone pointed out here on our Twitch chat, said, how do they get a 20% pay increase for 0.5% increase in cap? And it's because of the TV money. So they're going to get the raise, whether it's 48 or 48.5, the players are going to get more money.
By the way, the 20%'s for rookies. The 20% is, and it's even a little less than that, it's a $500,000 minimum contract that is going to be close to $600,000 year one of this deal. And most of that raise is paid for just by agreeing to play the extra game.
But what I do find fascinating is that I would think, and the very little I know about player union negotiations, is that I've been when I was a part of the ECHL, they had that, players had a union. Didn't really do much, but they voted on a lot of things, and they would go back and sit with the players, and the players would vote. When are these union reps going to go back and meet with and have a conference call with the 53 guys on the roster?
Well, but the way it's set up, though, is the executive council votes on something, then the player reps vote on something, and if it passes both, then the rank and file get to vote. So they have set their system up not for the player reps to essentially listen to the rank and file. They're the so-called more educated people on the issues because they've been involved in the negotiations more than the rank and file. They report back to the rank and file. I mean, Mark, in a way, it's a lot like Congress. I mean, there are times in which our representative or our senator, they don't really ask for our opinion on something. They decide, I know more about this than you, or this is in the greater interest, and I know you would probably want me to vote no on this, but I'm going to think big picture here, and beyond my congressional district, I'm going to vote yes. And it may come back to haunt them, but that's why, and they kind of look and go, well, that's kind of my job as a congressman or a senator. I got to make these big decisions.
Thought you were going Charlie Wilson there with I just got to get the head of the committee to vote for it. They'll send this sucker through
Doc
no matter
Ford.
what. Doc Ford. Yeah,
Right.
Doc Brown, whatever it was. Yeah.
Doc Brown?
Doc Brown.
Doc Brown, right.
Doc
Gotta
Ford's
get
a
Doc
restaurant
Brown.
here.
Right, I know. I like it, actually.
It's good for you.
Yeah.
That's as close as you come early.
Love the fish sticks, actually.
The fish sticks.
Yeah, fish sticks. All right. But they're not what you think. They're actually more like those boneless chicken things at Stevie Tomatoes. They are thick. It's the best value. For like $8.99, you get 5 of them. They're huge. It's great. It's a great deal. As you can tell, I've been there a few times. I like it. It's perfect for my wife and I. Right by the
fish
water. It's
sticks.
affordable. I don't know.
When you go out.
I don't know if they call them
If
fish
I can't
sticks,
get the fish sticks at McDonald's, I go to a restaurant
see,
where
like
I
I
can get
said,
the
there's
fish
a big
sticks.
difference, though. I mean, there's fish
Long
sticks.
John Silver's.
Hey, these aren't the rolls at Red Lobster or whatever.
I've been to a Red Lobster once in my life, and it was over 40 years ago.
I understand. You go for the rolls.
Do you?
Yeah, the rolls are actually really good.
I've heard that.
Everything else, not so much, but yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they
Well,
actually call them fish sticks.
You got to have
but
something
that's
like
what
a
they
roll or
are.
a Red Lobster. You got to have something to keep it in your stomach to get yourself home.
Oh yeah,
before
you got to
sit
sop
down.
it all up.
Yeah, I mean, because without the roll, you wouldn't even make it home.
Well, without the roll, you wouldn't even advance to the next part of the meal. 249-8167, 249-8167. I may be doing, Doc Ford's. Because I don't.
If they
I'm
were
gonna have to
ever
look
gonna
it up. I
advertise,
don't know
if they are
That's not
now.
true. We go all the time. You should advertise. My wife and I are there twice a month. All right, but I don't know if they call them fish sticks.
Really?
But they are basically big fish sticks. All right, but they're thick though. They're not like a stick. They're more like a fish slice.
I am just
that's how
letting you
thick they are.
hang yourself
That's how
on
wide
this right
they
now.
are. Look, why? Listen.
The fish stick.
They could look it up. How much money I spend there a year. All right. They wish everybody would spend the amount of money I spend there a year. My goodness, they'd have 8 stores instead of 3 or whatever they have. All right. It's $8.99. I'm telling you, it's a hot steaming deal.
Right. Doc Ford's famous fish fingers.
There you go. Fingers, sticks, fingers, wedges, slices, whatever the heck. They're big, they're thick, and they're good.
Let's all go to Doc Ford's today, and I want everybody to go in and say, I heard you guys, this guy told me about the fish
sticks. Right.
I want everybody today to go to Doc. I want to run them out of fish fingers. I want by noon for Doc Ford's to go, what the hell happened?
Listen.
What in the, why are we 86 in the fish fingers by noon?
Listen.
And why is everybody calling them fish sticks?
And why are you yelling, by the way? But if you were to call them fish sticks, the waiter or waitress would go, you mean fingers? I mean, so it wouldn't be the most egregious, violation of restaurant etiquette in the world. I'm telling you, I'll make a deal. You go and you order
now
them.
Moulton's paying for them.
If you don't like them, I'll pay for them.
Now
honestly,
Moulton's paying for them. There it
that's
is.
how good they are. I'll give you a Moulton money back guarantee because Miller's not going to be a part of it. So this is a Moulton money back guarantee. You go, you order them, you eat them, you don't like them, I'll take care of it for you. I don't know how. And be honest. Don't make me dip into my wallet just because. Besides, it's only $9. Come on now. Got my reputation on the line here. They're good. There's some good casual restaurant eating. That's what we got going on here. It's a Southwest Florida delicacy. Fish fingers. Or slices or sticks or whatever. Miller and Moulton. I guess I'll quit while I'm behind.
I think that might be a good idea.
You just yelled at me.
249-8167, your fish stick. Williamson Brothers
Fingers.
Marine and Roofing
Fingers.
fish stick hotline.
And you know why I like them? I got fat fingers. And they're like fat fingers. They are. Some people have skinny fingers. Some people have fat fingers. I was one of those. Rapping the golf club, I had fat fingers. That's all. I don't know if that was an advantage or not. It's what I had. I played with it. 249-8167. on the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line.
I'm sure they gave him fish sticks on the kids menu.
Yep, fine. Be that way. Fine. Go ahead.
Like ordering Vienna sausages at a steakhouse.
It's an appetizer, you know.
Do not insult Red Lobster. I'll insult Red Lobster all the time.
Well, Mark doesn't like chains also, so you got to keep that in mind. Anything having to do with the chain, Mr. Miller's very anti.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
I would rather eat at a mom and pop restaurant than a chain restaurant, but there are some excellent chains.
You just haven't spoken of any in the 12 plus years we've done a show together.
The Capitol Grill is wonderful.
Okay.
Ruth's Chris is wonderful.
I meant right there. I mean, there are chains, and then there are
Trulux, another
chains.
Fantastic restaurant.
Right. Okay. Once again, yep, a bunch of places.
Those are all chains.
Right. Bunch of places.
Smith and Walensky's,
yep,
another excellent chain.
Bunch of places for the middle class. Right.
Well,
You're just, yep. But you just scream gated community. Boy, do you ever. Not a whole lot of fish fingers in your life. I don't even know if you give your 5-year-old fish fingers. Apparently, it's beneath her.
Would Maddie eat a fish finger?
Of course she would. She's 5. Of course she would.
I don't know.
Really?
That's a great. We'll find out tonight. Telling her we're having fish fingers for dinner.
Are you going to Doc Ford's?
Yeah.
You're going to go to Doc Ford's
order
now?
the fish sticks.
Remember, if she doesn't like the
You're
fish,
paying for them.
She doesn't like this.
I may do it on Twitch.
I'm sorry, Frank. I won't pound the table. I woke you up there. 249-8167. 249-8167. Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line. NHL trade deadline's 4 o'clock today. For those of you that are hockey fans, whatever's going to go down needs to happen in about 9 hours' time. That's it. I think the NBA misses the boat. Their deadline's too early. It was over 2 weeks ago. It was 2.5 weeks ago. It's too early. Need to have it about now.
It was before the All-Star game.
Yeah, it was.
I guess that was the one thing in my head that didn't
over a week
make sense.
It.
I never thought their All-Star break was after their trade deadline. It just doesn't make sense to me. We talked a little about today is the 40th anniversary of the gold medal game.
Right.
While 2 days ago was the anniversary of beating the Russians in 1980, it was this morning, 40 years ago, that the U.S. team would take on Finland to win the gold medal. And as this person texted this morning, in 1980, we had no clue what hockey was in the panhandle of Florida. But we knew the Ruskies were evil, so we rooted for the home team. Darn right you did. And then everybody watched again to make sure that we won against the Finns.
And then it had to be explained to them, if we lose, we could get nothing at all. Bupkis. And people were like, wait a minute, we haven't lost the whole tournament, but if we lose today, we don't even get a medal? How could that be? We beat the Soviet Union 2 days ago. We don't even medal? Now, it would have taken a perfect storm because it was a round robin when you got to the medal round. You get 4 teams. They're all acquiring points. They showed up with points based on who they had played and beaten earlier. And so the U.S. had a 1-point lead over the Soviets and the Swedes. They were both tied with 2 points. We had 3. And Finland, who had tied Sweden in right after we had beaten the Soviets, they played to a 3-3 tie. They had a point. So in theory, if the Finns had beaten us by 2 or more goals, and they led 2-1 going to the third. So think about it. Finland scores 1 more goal in the third, and if the Russians and Swedes had tied, we would have finished 4th. Now, as it turned out, Russia demolished Sweden, and by us beating Finland, Soviets took 2nd and Sweden got the bronze, and those are the teams that you see when Eruzione is standing on the platform and then inviting the other 19 guys to join him.
And that is, that look that the Russian player is giving all those Americans, I mean, that there is part of that when you see the documentaries from the Russian side, when they're all standing on their sticks looking at it, they had forgotten what winning was. And they talk about that. Not that they didn't want to win, but there was no joy in winning anymore for them. It was routine.
Right.
It was expected.
And that they were amazed that winning could produce that much joy.
Yes.
And for some of the veterans, they were literally with their chins on their sticks watching us celebrate and trying to remember back when, well, a win would produce that kind of a reaction for them. And you really had to go back to like 64. And one of the documentaries, the 30 for 30 that was done, was from the Russian perspective. And it goes all the way back to how the Russians actually invented their own style of hockey. Which now, I mean, if you consider what hockey was 40 plus years ago, which was North American hockey, Canadians, and then we copied their style. It was straight north-south, and everybody stayed on their side of the ice. The centerman had the middle, and the right wing had the right side, and the left wing had their side, and everybody skated in lines. That's how North Americans played hockey. The Soviets were the one that basically said, yeah, you don't play where the puck is, you play where the puck's going to go. And that we play much more now Soviet-style hockey than we do North American hockey. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I mean, from cycling, from regrouping in the neutral zone, and the way that we break out, yeah, everything is pretty much changed to a lot more movement, a lot more flow.
And it's everything that was done, quite frankly. I mean, ESPN taped a special Miracle on Ice at 40, where it was Jeremy Schaap with Jim Craig, Mike Eruzione, and Mark Johnson. Johnson scored 2 of the U.S.'s 4 goals in the 4-3 win over the Soviets. He's a hockey coach, son of a hockey coach, of a legendary hockey coach. Has won, I think, 5 national championships as a women's coach at Wisconsin. And so it's interesting, all of their... Jeremy Schaap, I thought, asked them an interesting question in which they said, what's Herb's... During a game, what's his coaching style? And both Johnson and Eruzione, because it's tough for Jim Craig to talk about it because he's on the ice, but they both said, he never really said much. He wasn't this mad scientist and, screaming out all these different things. He goes... He basically had about 3 things that he said constantly. And one of them was what he famously said after they took the lead, which was play your game. Play your game. And Eruzione said, and he also used to say this, and Mark Johnson said he used to also say that. But that's basically all he'd ever say, that he did most of his coaching leading up to the games. And that's something that Bobby Knight always said. He was asked one time during his heyday, you don't call a lot of timeouts. It doesn't seem as if you talk a lot of strategy. And he somewhat defiantly said, if you do this right, you shouldn't have to do a thing. And not that the team would just go out and win by 40, but that if you've coached them, they should instinctively know what to do. You shouldn't have the need to call timeout and this, that, and the other thing. That if the other team adjusts, in theory, we've prepared them, and then we make the adjustments on the fly, and we keep playing. And if they hit a couple shots, well, tighten things up, get a stop or 2, and then run your offense. I mean, do I really have to call timeout and tell them this? If so, I don't think I've done my job during the week.
We'll start doing our job getting you ready for March. Shelby Mast will be a regular, my guess, over the course of the next month.
Hope so.
He has always been good to us in the past, and he will join us next as we start getting our pencils ready for the madness that is March. Shelby Mast from BracketWag.com, bracketologist, will join us next. Miller and Moulton, Fox Sports Radio, streaming at FoxSportsFM.com, and you are looking live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
The self-awareness with Zion. To me, this is a star. This is a guy that I can put in front of the cameras for 20 years. Zion is so uniquely explosive with a nice touch. It's going to overcome the other stuff. Everybody's looking for the perfect player. They don't exist. Michael Jordan was a ball hog.
Colin Cowherd. Weekdays at noon on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
Have you or someone you know been taken advantage of or preyed upon by storm chasers who are out of the area contractors? Well, you're not alone. Hi, this is PJ, owner of Estate Roofing. With over 20 years of experience, I'm committed to quality products with outstanding service. I personally visit all the job sites, making sure every customer gets high-quality work done on time. Shingle, tile, or metal, we do it all. We're an Owens Corning preferred contractor with an impeccable track record. We understand the value of educating customers so you know what you're buying every step of the way. Having issues with getting your insurance claims paid? We'll help you manage your insurance companies to get you paid or help you with financing if needed. Call me today to get a free 20-watt solar attic fan with your new roof. Call me at 692-9732. That's 692-9732. Or visit us online at estateroofing.com. That's ESTATE roofing.com.
There was a
Estate
Long John
Roofing.
Silver's.
Roofing redefined.
This is an important message from Lee County Elections.
Arthur
The March 17th
Treachers.
presidential preference primary
those were the
is a
ones
closed
more by me
primary
than
election.
anything. There was one Long
Only
John
voters who are
Silver's,
registered
and there
Republican
was
or
an
Democrat
Arthur
will
Treachers
be
in the
eligible to
Edison
vote
Menlo
for
Park
presidential
area.
candidates.
There was also an
For
Arthur
information,
Treachers
visit
about a mile or two
lee.vote
from my
or call
grandparents' house, my mom's parents in Clark.
239-533-8683. That's 239-533-8683.
I used to like the Arthur Treachers. You'd come in, it was fast food, if you will. You'd get just a basket of, say, 3 pieces of fish, and the fries, and a drink. There you go. If you got fancy, they gave you different pieces of fish with the 3, one of each. That was fancy. Paid an extra $1 for that. Instead of 3 something, it was 4 something. That was a lot of money.
And time is running out. If you have a tile or shingle roof and live between Port Charlotte and Marco Island, call us at 239-283-2013.
I was in Jersey 20 minutes, Mark. My mother and I were at a White Castle.
That can benefit you in the
It was
form of a
glorious.
new roof. Williamson Brothers Roofing.
3
deal with
o'clock
the
Friday
insurance carrier for
afternoon.
you.
I had 10
Call us at
cheeseburgers.
239-283-2013.
Then we went out to dinner.
Again, time is running out. Call us at 239-283-2013. Williamson Brothers Roofing specializes in the claims process. We have experts standing by. We get claims approved.
It's going to be in the 60s on Thursday and Friday.
It's
What?
going to be in the 40s. I got a caddy.
What the heck?
And subscribe to the
That's
Daily
4 days in a row in the
Won't get
60s.
that. Call the doctor.
What the
Call
hell?
the doctor.
Hi, Dr.
I
Mark
had to
here.
buy it.
Heat
I had
pumps
to buy
take
a-
heat out of the
a
air
tooth-
and put
a
it in
ski
your
cap.
pool.
Like, it was
They
so-
cost less
I
to
don't
run
know.
than gas heaters,
Couldn't
and you
find-
won't
I
have
almost broke
panels
a
on your
Michigan State
roof.
one. I couldn't
Special
find it. The
pricing,
only one I know that I
rebates,
had.
and free
Fortunately,
on-site
they were selling this pro
evaluation. We're a
shop.
family
That's
company.
desperate times
For over
right there.
40
If you'd
years,
worn your
we've been doing
Sparty
business
one.
It's that close.
Prescription is the
Damn.
Pool Doctor for award-winning pool service,
Hey.
repairs, and unheard
Warm.
of $39
Oh, I know.
diagnostic calls. That's mypooldoctor.com or 239-574-1133. State certified CPC 057088.
This is Mark Miller for Tim Tracing Motors, and I'm
Got
with
your
Wes
caller.
Downs, a very satisfied
Thank you.
Tim Tracing Motors customer.
Thanks, Mark. Over the past 20 years, my family and I have purchased at least 17 vehicles from Tim Tracing Motors.
Frank.
Everything from Beamers to town cars to Cadillacs to cars for our kids to the Toyota Avalon and Highlander that we currently own. We've always been impressed by the thoughtful, straightforward way that Tim and Matt do business. We especially appreciate that they're so picky about the quality of cars that they bring to the market. They have always stood behind their cars, and that's why we'll continue to be loyal Tim Tracing Motors customers.
Well, there you have it. Visit online at timmotors.com. That's timmotors.com, or call to set up an appointment at 275-7900. 275-7900.
Yeah,
Tim
Arthur
Tracing Motors,
Treachers
they are
was much
confident
more
when you
fast
meet them,
food.
you'll
There
agree
were
that
like,
you've
you know,
never
the
been to a
4
dealership
tables
like theirs
inside to
before.
sit down
Visit
at.
online
But it
It
at
was
had,
cheaper than Long John
That's
Silver.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Long John Silver's a restaurant.
Oh.
Arthur Treachers. It was, well, there were
Glorified
both.
fast
Well,
food.
there were both. But
Now back
Long
to
John
Miller
Silver's
and
was a
Moulton.
half a step above Arthur Treachers.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
Big debate and discussion during the break there, particularly with our Twitch TV viewers, about seafood restaurants, chain restaurants back in the day, and the difference between if you consider one a fast food place or one that you'd actually have to sit down and eat at. We'll spare Shelby Mass that
I
discussion.
really hope that we do. I really hope that
From
we
USA Today and bracketwag.com. Bracketwag.com. He is our resident bracketologist. Shelby, how the heck are you?
Well, I love seafood. What are we talking about here?
Well,
But
all
we're
right.
talking about bad seafood, Shelby.
Yeah.
We got into this. between Arthur Treacher's and Long John Silver's back in the day.
Right.
I was showing my detest earlier for chain restaurants, and it started with me never being at a Red Lobster. So this is where it all came from. But I'm you want to come have some gumbo, Shelby? We want to get some redfish. I'm in. But I didn't want to get you on this Arthur Treacher's thing.
So I don't even know what that is. We don't have it in Texas, as far as I know. So
yeah,
I'm out on that one.
I don't know if they're around anymore. All right, 20 days from now, it's Selection Sunday. How difficult are you finding drawing the line as to the field right now? Because, Shelby, I'm just going to throw this out there. I think this might be the most mediocre year of college basketball since the 70s.
I would tend to agree. I think that's going to make the tournament a lot more fun because there's no dominant team. There's not a team or two or three that you look at and say that's the title contender. Obviously, the 1s and 2 seeds are going to be in that discussion, but nobody really stands out, and things aren't that far apart between 1 through 11 or 12 seeds. Every team can be beaten by any of those other teams.
Who do you think is playing their way into a better seed? Because as you mentioned, there's a lot of teams that could make a run. Who do you like what they've done in the past couple of weeks that you think starting to set themselves up for a great last 6 weeks of the year?
I like Creighton a lot right now. They have done a lot of good things over the recent weeks, jumping from about the 7 or 8 range up to the best 3 seed I have. I came close to putting them on the 2 line after they beat the tar out of Butler yesterday. I'm waiting for that Florida State game tonight. If Florida State wins that, then I'm going to keep them on the 2 line. But if they lose, I'm probably moving Creighton up. It's Dayton. Dayton has been good all year long, and that is my favorite to win the whole thing.
Really? Whole damn thing?
Yes. Whole thing.
Well, you made 2 guys that do a show pretty happy because I've been on Dayton since November, and David this morning at 6:30 said exactly what you said, to watch out for Creighton as they're charging down the stretch. So it makes a couple of hacks feel pretty good about their bracketology right now.
Well, and Shelby, I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, but this year feels like a year in which scoring is a struggle, and that there are very few teams in which you go, man, they're good shooters, they're good scorers. Creighton's one of them. Gonzaga's another. 7 guys who average in double figures. I look at these teams who seemingly can score 70-plus every game and think this year a team like that's got to go to the Final Four.
Yeah, you think that, but then you get Gonzaga losing to BYU. BYU's a good team. But you've got teams that have lost questionable games and wonder what the heck happened there. And the one that just sticks out for me, but Duke against Stephen F. Austin, but Kentucky against Evansville. Evansville has turned out to be a really bad team. How did Kentucky lose at home to them? And so with that in mind, that goes back to scoring it's not there this year, but that makes the other teams feel like they can win the games.
Maryland is a team that, to me, can get that done because they can score as well. And when I look at the Big Ten, I see a lot of average. Maryland seems to me to be the team that can be far above average. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. That conference, it's deep, it's pretty good, but they are beating each other up except for Maryland. Maryland has stood out, and I would have moved them to the 1 seed line yesterday had they won at Ohio State. They didn't, so San Diego State stays there. But they've got an opportunity to be there. But I've been asked several times, if that conference is so good, why aren't there more higher seeds? And they're just beating each other up.
Are the Gators in your field right now, yes or no?
They are in right now, still have some work to do. I think they've been one of the more disappointing teams, not their fault, but expectations were so high for them that they had really nowhere to go but down. And I think they're going to get in. They're looking better and better, but they still need a few more wins.
Kansas or Baylor, and I know they just played, are they the 2 best Blue Bloods this year, or is it still kind of what you said before, that some of the losses that these teams have, haunt you a little bit, or are we really looking at Kansas and Baylor being the two best from the Power Fives?
I really think they are. I was at that game on Saturday, and Kansas, just don't watch the scoreboard, just watch the game. Kansas looked like they just completely dominated, but then you look up, and Baylor's got a shot to tie the game at the buzzer. So that says something for Baylor. They're both top notch, but I don't think they have separated themselves enough to where they are the prohibitive favorites.
Talking with Shelby Mast, USA Today bracketologist, bracketwag.com, bracketwag.com. Obviously, in these parts, some of us still follow Andy Enfield. USC slumping here. I mean, schedule's gotten tougher. They have not responded. They've lost, I think, 5 of 7. Are they still in your field?
They are, but they are trending downward. I guess that's the hip thing to say, trending. They have gone from a 5-6 seed range. They're down to 10 seed for me now, and they're in a position where they need wins. They're not safe in the bracket yet, but I think they will be because there's just not enough games left for them to completely lose out and fall out, I don't think. But I would prefer them, if they want to play in March Madness, to get a couple more wins.
All year long, David and I have had a little argument. He has thought that Florida State is a Final Four team, and because of how we started this with the inability to score of a lot of teams, that's always been Florida State's nemesis, is just getting the ball in the basket. Are they good enough offensively to charge all the way to the Final Four this year? We know they can play D. We know they're athletic.
Yeah. I think because of the fact that they can play defense and they are athletic, that's what can help them get there. I'm not really sold on a lot of teams getting to the Final Four. I know that it's going to happen. There's going to be 4 teams left. I don't have a clue which ones, though. If I had to pick 4, there's no way I'd put any money on it because it's just so wide open. But Florida State, given the right bracket, if things fall their way, they have the ability to get there.
All right, I'm looking at your bracket as of this morning at bracketwag.com, bracketwag.com, and you have East Tennessee State as a 10 in bold black letters. So you have them in as an automatic qualifier from a small conference. So you essentially have them as the best small school team in the country, right?
Of the one bid leagues.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Gonzaga, I guess, is still kind of considered San Diego State. But, yeah, they are. Of the one bid leagues, I think they're the best.
And, we pay attention, Liberty in the A-Sun like FGCU, who we follow. The way you talk about, we're used to the A-Suns of the world being 15, 16 seeds. Liberty at the 12 line there, Stephen F. Austin at the 12 line. You're telling us some of these one bid leagues are going to give teams games this year.
Oh, I think so. I think East Tennessee State, if the season, if the season ended right now and they didn't win their conference tournament, I think they would be in. I think they have a legitimate shot for an at-large bid. That win at LSU is huge. And what the committee did last year, they put Belmont in, which I thought was fantastic. Yep. They're not saying you have to win a bunch of quad one games or against power schools. It's how you do in those opportunities. We understand you don't get the chance to play those bigger schools as much as we'd like, but how do you do in those opportunities that you have? And that LSU, and they've beaten North Carolina Greensboro, who I think is still alive for an at-large. They've beaten them twice. So I think unless they just lose a couple of games to some real stinker teams, I see them dancing.
Well, Belmont did have the Rick Byrd sentimental factor going, though. I mean, most people were of the belief it might be his last year, and so I do think that played a role in them getting the at-large bid. Rick Byrd, did everything the right way, beloved guy, the whole deal. Steve Forbes is a guy who lives for the JUCO circuit. All right, little slicker. I don't know that East Tennessee and Steve Forbes are going to get necessarily the love and respect from the committee that Rick Byrd and Belmont did, but I hear you about how good they are. All right, how many of the Big Ten would you put in today?
I've got 10 in right now. Indiana really helped themselves yesterday beating Penn State. They were close to the cut line, and they've moved up to the 8-9 game, which is a little bit safer. Rutgers is the one that I've heard enough from their fans. I get it, guys. Your team is good, but you've got one win away from home, and the committee does not reward that. Teams, since 1994, they have not put a team in that's won fewer than 3 games away from home. And I keep hearing, well, that's not going to be what keeps them out. Well, that could be what keeps them out. They want teams, and they preach this every year. You got to be able to win away from home, and winning one it won't do it for them.
So you got 10 in from the Big Ten. How many from the Big East?
Big East, as of today, I've got 7 in. That is everybody talks about the Big Ten being deep. Well, the Big East is pretty deep too, and I think they're more stacked at the top. I've got Creighton, Seton Hall, and Villanova all on the 3 line. And Butler, they're now on the 5 line. So that's 4 teams in the top 5 seeds, whereas the Big Ten has 2, Penn State and Maryland.
Of the 6 power conference schools, because in basketball you consider the Big East, obviously. So of the 6 power 6, the SEC with the fewest bids right now, according to Shelby, with just 4. And I do think the SEC has underachieved this year. Shelby, you feel good about college basketball this year? Because I got to admit, compared to last year and recent years, this feels off to me.
Yeah, it's off, but I really think that's going to set up for a fantastic tournament. Like I said earlier, there's no dominant team. There's a lot of teams that could win this thing, but I think the games are going to be closer. There's going to be more drama, and just as I say that, there's going to be a bunch of blowouts.
Not necessarily now. Come on, Shelby Mast, you're very good at this. USA Today and BracketWag.com, BracketWag.com. Follow him on Twitter at BracketWag. And Shelby, hopefully we can call you about twice a week and, right on up until Selection Sunday and go through who we think's in, who we think's out, who we think needs to win a game or, to play themselves in versus being bounced out. So it's getting fun now.
Absolutely. I love it.
Shelby, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me.
Shelby Mast of USA Today and also his site, BracketWag.com, BracketWag.com. Day by day, he not only has the full field, he tells you last 4 in, first 4 out. Then he gives
4 out.
Well, and then he also gives you like a list of schools that, hey, you're still in there for an at-large. Then he gives you a list of schools that says, yeah, you probably got to win the conference tournament. Sorry, it's a little too late for you. Shelby Mast joining us here on Miller and Moulton. David Sampson will join us in about 40 minutes' time to talk a little baseball and what went on over the weekend in which the Astros got booed at home in a spring training game. Every Astro got booed.
Awesome.
Whether you were on the 2017 team or not. We'll talk to David Sampson about that coming up. Today was the day when is next on Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
Drive home with the Doug Gottlieb Show.
This was Emmitt Smith talking to Bleacher Report about Dak Prescott taking less in his next contract.
Instead of taking 35, would you take 28 and leave some for Amari and pick up the other 35 through endorsements?
He does have a great point. Over the last 10 years, the team whose quarterback has the highest NFL salary cap hit has missed the playoffs 8 of the last 10 years.
Doug Gottlieb, afternoons at 3 on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
Dial star 2020. Friends, I care.
When it comes to cataract surgery, the lens you choose matters. Blurry and weakened vision caused by cataracts are limitations to the lifestyle that you can and should live without. Dr. Jonathan France and the caring team of surgeons at France Eye Care want to help you navigate your vision challenges with an intelligent solution, the PanOptix intraocular lens. Dr. France not only proud to be the first in Southwest Florida to bring you this breakthrough technology of a trifocal solution, he's also the #1 PanOptix surgeon in the state of Florida. PanOptix, specially designed to help patients see 20/20 at distances that are near, far, and even in between. Experience the freedom of living without glasses for distance driving computers and reading. See your future in 2020. Find out if you are a candidate for PanOptix today by dialing ** 2020 from your cell or call 239-418-0999.
Friends, I care.
The Dear Happy Show.
Brought to you by Hardee's.
We've got Melissa on the line.
Hey, Happy.
Happy. My kids have baseball practice on Saturday mornings, but it's my only day to sleep in.
Well, break it to them early that they're not going to make the majors.
But I don't want to crush their dreams.
That's fair. Then why don't you swing by Hardee's on the way and get the new BFC Frisco breakfast sandwich with a crispy wheel of cheese inside so everyone's morning can be super.
Okay.
Call in next time at 1-833-HI-HAPPY. Available for a limited time only at participating Hardee's restaurants. Feed your happy. The Dear Happy Show. Brought to you by Hardee's. Eric, you're on with Happy.
Hey, Happy. I'm applying for a mortgage and I'm debating a 15-year or a 30-year rate.
Forget about the property ladder. Get on the burger ladder.
What?
The new BFC Angus Thick Burger from Hardee's has a crispy wheel of cheese on top.
You're right. As long as I have a good burger, I'll always have a place to call home.
Exactly. Call in next time at 1-833-HI-HAPPY. Available for a limited time only at participating Hardee's restaurants. Feed your happy.
No matter where you're boating, with Towboat US, you're covered by the world's largest towing fleet with over 300 ports nationwide. Your local Towboat US companies in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties are here to help 24/7, 365 days a year. Inland, the river to Lake O, and out 75 nautical miles. And new member specials are running all year. Call 239-945-1664 for more information or visit towboatuscapecoral.com. With Towboat US, you're never stuck on the water.
Contact Miller and Moulton anytime. Call me Daddy. Save the Williamson Brothers Marine text and talk line to your contacts.
Who's got it better than us?
239-249-8167.
We are Fox Sports.
Are you or a loved one suffering from alcohol addiction? Now you can obtain alcohol detox from the comfort of your own home with Tella Psychiatry Associates and their My Home Detox program. Get monitored by doctors 24/7 using their advanced technology. No in-home nursing or detox centers needed. It's private, affordable, and effective. Connect with our medical center and be on your way to recovery in a matter of days. Get clean discreetly and conveniently at myhomedetox.com. myhomedetox.com.
Pool need a checkup? Call the doctor. The Pool Doctor.
Hi, Dr. Mark here. Your old pool pump is an energy hog and likely your second greatest user of electricity. We'll install a new Pentair energy-efficient pump, saving you over $500 a year. We're a family company, and for over 40 years, we've been doing business right.
The prescription is the Pool Doctor for award-winning pool service, repairs, and unheard of $39 diagnostic calls. That's mypooldoctor.com or 239-574-1133. State certified CPC 057088.
Get your tickets now. Naples All-Star Events presents the Legends of Basketball. Meet and greet Monday, March 16th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Bo Camper's Sports Bar and Grill. See NBA All-Stars Nate Archibald, Rick Barry, Bill Chenier, and Sam Jones. Your exclusive access not only includes the Hall of Famers, but an appetizer buffet, prizes, and more. A portion of the proceeds to benefit Veterans Healthcare. Meet and greet the Legends of Basketball March 16th at Bo Camper's Sports Bar and Grill. Get your tickets at NaplesAllStarEvents.com. Here we go.
Now back to Miller and Moulton.
No.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Your life.
$11 minutes before 8 o'clock. Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. You know, the last couple of weeks we've been really good about poll questions. We didn't even bring one up today. I have an idea, if you're open to it. Usually the poll question's your thing. You're better at it than I am. But I have an idea.
You have an idea?
I do. We haven't talked about it at all in 2 hours.
Well, that doesn't seem like the best reason to bring something up for a poll question, though, because since we haven't talked about something, that doesn't necessarily mean it's poll question worthy.
No, but I actually think it's why it's poll question worthy. It's gotten a lot of hype for the past 2 weeks. Week 3. Anybody watch the XFL this weekend?
The what?
Exactly. We're not even in March yet, but this was a really good college basketball weekend. You had Kansas Baylor, you had Gonzaga and San Diego State both get beat, a tremendous Arizona-Oregon game. This was a good college basketball weekend. We're a month out, a little less than a month. So this is the time that people start paying attention to that thing that I fear is going to engulf the XFL season, which is March Madness. There was a really good crowd in St. Louis. I mean, the entire lower bowl of the dome that the Rams used to play in was sold out. I mean, it was a really good crowd for a Battlehawks game.
It is. It's interesting because they they, like you said, great fan support this week.
Yeah, attendance was pretty good.
You know, I mean, week 1 numbers, they did 69,000. Week 2 number, they did 76,000. They did 81,000 with, as you mentioned, 30,000 at the St. Louis game. But it is going to be interesting when I've not seen TV numbers of what they did this past week, because it didn't seem like there was a lot of attention being paid.
We had
we had
the Miracle on Ice celebration, the championship fight.
See, I don't really put a lot into the college basketball because people don't watch it. I don't think Kansas-Baylor, I'd be shocked if it did more than a 2.
Yeah, probably has a similar number as an XFL game,
right,
to be honest. But I'm just saying, this was the first weekend in which I thought, because of the upsets in the top 5, that maybe college basketball hit the casual sports fans' radar this weekend. And I have not heard a whole lot of talk about the XFL this weekend.
No, because it was the fight. I mean, the fight dominated. That was the big thing that happened.
The fight with the whole Miracle on Ice celebration,
right.
It dominated the 2 networks. So I'm just wondering if you want to throw it out there. Hey, week 3 of the XFL took place this weekend. Did you watch any of it?
I'll consider it.
Okay, fair enough.
But now it's time for
Miller and Moulton's Today Was the Day When, giving you the history of today's date so you're a beacon of useless knowledge around the office.
Useless, but a lot of fun to talk about.
This is Today Was the Day When. Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
1952, we start today. Canada wins the 6th ice hockey gold medal by getting a 3-3 tie with the U.S. at the Oslo Games.
And that would be their last gold until Salt Lake City.
Right.
And they beat the U.S. in overtime.
1960, David, in Austria, or actually at Squaw Valley, the Austrians go 1-2 in the men's slalom. Ernest Hintersteer was your winner.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ernest and Giulio Gallo.
No.
Okay.
63,500, Tiny Lund, driving for Wood Brothers, wins on 4 pit stops as the first 10 laps are run under caution because of rain.
Tiny Lund.
You're
63, Daytona
right.
500 champion.
Correct. 1979, in Sanford, Texas, $42,500 was paid for a pig. It was the highest price ever paid for a pig.
If you mock me for anything the rest of the show,
$42,500
right,
pig.
I know what you just said. Right. I don't want to be mocked for anything I say the rest of the show.
1980, we won a game against Finland.
4-2, 3 in the third.
Year later, Chuck gets engaged to Diana.
What a sham that was.
1989, Roberto Duran wins his 4th world title in different weight divisions as he takes down Iran Barkley in 12 in a split decision at the age of 37. He becomes the WBC middleweight champ.
It was the fight of the year. I think it was in Atlantic City.
It was
epic. And Duran won it, and yeah. Fight of the year in boxing that in 89. It was a great fight. If you ever are flipping through the channels and it's on, watch it.
2002, Joe Sakic and Jerome McGinley score twice each as Canada knocks out the U.S. 5-2 to win gold in Salt Lake. If you were born today, you share your birthday with Honus Wagner. And hopefully you have his baseball card, too.
Right.
Abe Vigoda was born today in 1921.
Fish!
Right. We played a little George Thorogood because it's his birthday. George Thorogood is 70. Steve Jobs is 65.
Well, would have been
65. And Eddie Murray is 64 years old. Manon Rhéaume, 48 years old, the female goaltender for Tampa Bay. Simeon Rice celebrating his 46th birthday. Zach Johnson is 44. And Floyd Mayweather is 43. That is Today Was the Day When, this 24th of February.
I think Simeon Rice could still go out and get 6 sacks. I really do. Third down only guy at this stage. I mean, come on, a little respect for his age. But I really think Simeon could go out and get you 6 sacks. A terrific player.
You just want an 80-man roster for things like this, right?
It should be a bigger roster. We certainly shouldn't be having inactives. I mean, that's the most asinine. I can't believe billionaire owners are paying people full rate to not play. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Why? 2 guys on the competition committee think it's a good idea? I can't believe those businessmen say, yeah, I don't want to hear what you have to say. I'm not paying anybody to not play.
And they all seem to accept it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what we should do? Oh, okay. What do you mean it's what you should do?
0 sense.
Yeah, play them. Have them. I think game day, right? If for no other reason, you really think about this when your team's up 3-4 touchdowns late and you realize they can't sub out their whole lineups. They don't have enough guys to sub everybody out. I mean, they really don't. I mean, heck, part of this new CBA is a rule change in which they're mandating the minimum number of offensive linemen. Most teams go 7 in games. And they're saying, yeah, that's dangerous. We need to have at least 8 offensive linemen active on game day. I mean, that's how thin these teams are. And obviously 8, I mean, you can't sub out your whole starting 5, then you only have 3 linemen. I mean, that up there, I would be on the committee going, I don't know how big our rosters need to be, but they need to be at least as big so we can sub everybody out in the final 8 minutes so coaches can go, I don't want anybody getting hurt. I mean, there you go. Figure it out as to how many that is. That's a minimum number we need to have. And then we'll discuss anything else after that.
It is just, as you said, 2 guys in the competition committee said this was best, and they have all seemed to now, for as long as you and I have been doing the show together, to just say, well, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And you and I have been baffled about this, and Pat is even baffled by it.
Completely.
And yet they don't have any, there seems to be no inkling for change.
No, the owners are like, well, we'll just do whatever the competition committee says. Who the hell's the competition
committee?
Who
do you like more, the NCAA or the competition committee?
Well, the competition committee, because they have a much shorter track record of incompetence.
Miller and Bowling.
This is Mark Miller for Tim Tracek Motors, and I'm with Wes Dobbins, a very satisfied Tim Tracek Motors customer.
Thanks, Mark. Over the past 20 years, my family and I have purchased
at
least 17 vehicles from Tim Tracek Motors.
The first
Everything
hour.
from Beamers to town cars to Cadillacs to cars for our kids to the Toyota Avalon and Highlander that we currently own. We've always been impressed by the thoughtful, straightforward way that Tim and Matt do business. We especially appreciate that they're so picky about the quality of cars that they bring to the market. They have always stood behind their cars, and that's why we'll continue to be loyal Tim Tracek Motors customers.
Well, there you have it. Visit online at timmotors.com. That's timmotors.com, or call to set up an appointment at 275-7900. 275-7900. At Tim Tracek Motors, they are confident when you meet them, you'll agree that you've never been to a dealership like theirs before. Visit online at timmotors.com. That's timmotors.com, or call to set up an appointment at 275-7900. 275-7900.
Who do we have right now?
Our sound is a sound that makes you stop. And listen.
Listen to me and you listen well.
It's a collective voice that calls out to you, the fan.
We get a lot of zany people that call in.
This is our sound.
We're dealing with sick people here.
They're just absolutely nuts.
Crazy stuff happens. That's all I'm saying.
And you can only get it here.
Get crazy, get wild.
On Fox Sports Radio.
This is an important message from Lee County Elections. If you're a registered voter and haven't already requested your vote-by-mail ballot, do it now. It's the most convenient way to vote, and we pay the return postage. To request your vote-by-mail ballot now, visit lee.vote. That's lee.vote, or call 239-533-8683. That's 239-533-8683.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
WFSX AM from Naples to Cape Coral and all of Southwest Florida. 103.3 Fox Sports Radio.
We are Fox Sports! What's Trending Now on Fox Sports Radio is sponsored by Stevie Tomato's Sports Page in Naples, Fort Myers, and Cape Coral.
Do 5. The money that's going to keep coming in every year, you can't even comprehend.
That's Andrew Brandt?
No.
I didn't think so. Oh, because I spelled his damn name wrong. That's why. Sorry, that's not McDonald.
Got your caller.
Okay.
Thank you.
There he is. I'm like, that just didn't seem right. That's not the right guy.
There's only one way to wake up in the morning.
How the heck are you?
Yep, that's it. Miller,
Shelter from the storm, huh?
and Moulton.
Yeah. Sounds like a song.
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
All guests appear on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Hotline. Goldberg-law.com.
Yes! Oh, I like it! It's up to you now! It's up to you! I like it!
Now, the best local sports show this town has ever heard. Here's Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
And as we approach a couple minutes past 8 o'clock, top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. Former Marlins president, current CBS baseball analyst David Sampson to join us at the bottom of the hour. It's a genuine pleasure to welcome back to the show Andrew Brandt. He of the Business of Sports podcast, which is a tremendous listen, Business of Sports podcast, and also columnist for the Monday Morning Quarterback or the MMQB.com. Follow Andrew on Twitter at Andrew Brandt. That's Brandt. Andrew, good morning. How are you?
Doing well, guys. Good to be with you.
Thanks so much again for your time. You know, we joke doing a radio show that with the technology nowadays, you never know who's listening, and occasionally we'll get a comment or two from someone and we go, Did you kind of feel that way in the last week? Because you've offered your thoughts about the NFL and the CBA and kind of given the players advice. And Andrew, I have to admit, I have a feeling as if you're a member now of the NFL Executive Council, because I think they're reading your stuff.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I have had players reach out to me, and I've noticed more players in the past week following me on Twitter. I just think that we're all, in any business, looking for authoritative and independent voices. I guess, you know, I'm doing work now. People may have heard of this super entrepreneur named Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. Started a sports agency and has some players. So I guess technically I am on the players' side again. But I think what I try to point out is equity. You know, we've got a potential 10-year collective bargaining agreement on the table, and I'm just kind of for equity, whether for the players or the owners, because I've been on both sides. And I've been pointing out what I see as potential inequities. And the one thing I've learned in 25 years of negotiating deals, and I think people can relate to this, is when it's a lopsided deal, it's not good. It's not good for anyone. You know, when I did deals for the Packers, I got there as a young guy. I'm like, I'm going to get some great deals, and I sort of got some young and inexperienced agents and thought I was so great, and it turned out to haunt me. The players were totally underpaid. The market passed them by. I developed some negative relationships. And you would think counterintuitively, as I got older, I'd do better, more positive deals for the Packers. I probably did more positive deals for the players because I just realized the value of making them feel good about their contracts and relationships with agents. So that's what I'm looking at here.
Well, when it comes to the equity part of this, where do you see an advantage right now? Do you see, it seems that you see a pretty big advantage on the owner side, and why is that, Andrew?
Yeah, and again, we don't have time to go through the 25, 30 deal points that are out there right now, but you mentioned it right there. Where you start the deal is often the problem, and the owners got a great deal in 2011, and it was a 10-year deal. And let's start right there. I don't see why the players would do another 10-year deal. I just don't get it. We've got TV contracts coming up. We've got sponsor contracts coming up. We've got streaming rights coming up. We've got gambling revenues we don't really have a hold on. We've got biometric data coming up we don't really have a hold on. Why not do a 2 or 3 or 4 year deal and see where we are after that? And the reason is the owners don't want that. I get it. They want 10 years so they can tell the world we have labor peace for a decade, which they just did. But I don't see an advantage for the players to lock into a 10-year deal. That's number one. Number two is the obvious point, which everyone is and should focus on. For the past 10 years, before that, past 15 years, the players have said, no way, no how are we playing more than 16 games. And the owners are disingenuous for asking us to do that and saying health and safety is so important. Yet, here we are with a 17th game on the table. And then the question is, okay, I get it. Business overrules safety. But are they getting enough? And in my opinion, they're not. And the real trade-off is the split. Revenue split went to like 53 for the owners, 47 for the players. After it was 50-50 10 years ago. And maybe they're getting back to 48-5 by a couple years into this deal, and then it just stops. So why not have a deal that goes 48-5 in 2 years, 49 in 4 years, 49-5 in 6 years, 50% in 8 years, if you're going to do a 10-year deal? So those are a couple factors among many that I think could be more equitable.
Well, Andrew, I guess we're wondering, we get the sense that the owners are threatening, hey, if you don't get your house in order and do this deal that we've been talking about for over a year by March 18th, we're going to lose our sense of humor. And trust me, what you have on the table now is the best deal you're going to get. Do you think they're bluffing? Do you think they have the leverage in this play, or that the players ultimately have more leverage than they believe they have?
I think the latter, because I just said it. The owners want this deal more than the players right now, and they're trying to get the players to buy into that. The owners have to make these TV deals. Not have to, but they're ready. They want to jump in while the market's good, while it's must-see TV, and it's not going to change. So they're trying to use that it's not going to get better. And if you notice, the owners praised that we've been doing this for 10 months, so people don't think this is their first offer. But I would advise players, don't fall prey to take it or leave it. There's 13 months, and this is where I don't understand the framing in the media some places. Talking about lockouts and strikes and missing games. Missing games? I mean, the earliest we would miss a game is September of 2021. So what are we talking about? I mean, we got 13 months before the expiration of this deal and 19 months, 20 months before it would matter. So I don't get it. I mean, we got plenty of time.
All right. Help me out with this one, Andrew, because some of the things we are hearing is that the rank and file doesn't have a problem with the 17th game, but the player reps and the executive committee for the players aren't even getting this type of vote through. What is your best estimation of, one, just how this works? You know, I've worked in other sports where the union rep basically would sit in front of the players and they would get it from each team. Certainly seems like the union reps in the NFL have a little more power there. Help me out with the power on that side, and if there is actually disagreement right now between the rank and file and the player reps at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there, obviously. I'm not in the rooms. But the way it works is you've got union leadership, you've got the 10 or 11-man exec committee, you've got 32 player reps, and then you've got the entire 2,000-player group. And what we know is that the exec committee is slightly against this deal, 6-5. Whether they take it to the 32 reps and then the 2,000 players is unclear right now. But it sounds like at the Combine, where they're going this week, I'm going this week, it's kind of the big convention for football, there's going to be another meeting with owners and players, it sounds like. And maybe they get a concession or two from the owners that brings it back to the exec committee vote. Maybe then they recommend it, then the 32 reps get it, then the players get it, and then we may have a deal. But I just want the players, even if the players get one or two concessions so the owners say, are we done? Are we done? I want to make sure that they're getting a good deal.
He's Andrew Brandt, columnist for the Monday Morning Quarterback, which is the MMQB.com, the MMQB.com. He also hosts the Business of Sports podcast. You can follow Andrew on Twitter at Andrew Brandt. Andrew, do you believe that this is the last big network TV deal? That if this is a 8 to 10 year contract, it takes us through this decade, that by the 2030s, that this will be the last great run, if you will, for Fox, CBS, NBC, and ABC, and then in the 2030s we venture into the great unknown, or do you think that the NFL always intends to be attached to their networks?
Well, I think it's an and, not an or. I think it's an and, not an or. I think it's CBS, Fox, ESPN, NBC, and Google, Yahoo, Twitter, Amazon. You know, again, I was part of these Amazon broadcasts on Thursday Night Football where I provided some business of football insights to Andrea Kramer and Hannah Storm, doing it on Amazon Stream. I think that's the wave. That's the future. Thursday Night Football had broadcast with Fox. They had cable with NFL Network,
right,
and they had streaming with Amazon. That's the future. So I don't think, despite these dire predictions, NFL is going away from free television. But it's also going to have this other option, because you know how the younger generations are mobile now and want it all on mobile. And are they going to sit in front of a TV for 3 hours? Probably not. So just make it available everywhere. And the power of the NFL programming is well documented. It is the only, besides the Oscars, I guess, and maybe election night, it's the only must-see TV. It really is. And that's what gives it power.
Well, and that seems to be part of the reason, too, Andrew, when you keep going back, why do a 10-year deal? You mentioned we have no idea about the gambling. I guess we have an idea on the streaming because we've started, but we don't really have a total idea. Maybe you do, Andrew, from a business side of where this goes. But 5 years from now, there are more and more revenue streams coming into professional sports, and that seems to me why you want them to be hesitant on this 10-year deal, correct?
Yeah, and the owners are going to say, hey, we share it all. So what's the problem? We're going to share it all at 47, 48, 48.5%. What's the problem? I get it. That's the owner's negotiating tactic. Whether we do 1 year or 10 years or 20 years, it's all shared. So the response has to be yes, but let's see where things look in 3, 4, 5 years. And, no other sport's doing 10-year CBAs. I think basketball is like 8, but an out after 5. I think baseball is like a 6-year deal. So I don't get it. I mean, I get why the owners want it, of course.
Yeah, because they want to lock down the networks for 8+ years and be able to, line up the next 8, 10 Super Bowls and what have you. Andrew, you tweet out some interesting things. You teach, and I thought last week you said that you had a class that basically, was it you guys negotiated this? Yeah, you had some that took one side, you had half the class took the other, and you said, well, guys, it took us a couple hours, but we got it all figured out. What was it that your class ended up ultimately negotiating?
I teach a course called The Business of Professional Sports to law and business students at Villanova University. We're in a part where we're going over exactly what you and I are talking about this morning, sort of management views on things and player views on things. And instead of the macro CBA, we've done some micro player contract negotiations, and we picked Pat Mahomes and all the reasons why he should get this record-breaking contract. We put them up in groups of 2 against each other, And the ones representing him obviously talked about this incredible player, best player in the league, Super Bowl MVP. What leverage? But the ones representing the Chiefs had the obvious leverage, I think more leverage, in saying he's not a free agent for 3 years. So, you can't compare him to Kirk Cousins. You can't compare him to Matt Ryan, who did it 1 year early. You can't compare him to Russell Wilson, who was about to be a free agent. So it was an interesting discussion. Hopefully they learned. It's way too short a time to do it, but hopefully they learned from that. I also, my Twitter guys talked about last weekend. I was at triathlon camp in Naples and Marco Island, Florida. Aren't you guys down there?
We are right there. That's our home.
Yes. I did triathlon camp, where it's our winter break where we get ready for the season, where I live like an athlete. You wake up, you run, you come back, you eat, you bike, you come back, you eat, you swim, you come back, you eat, you run. So I did that for 4 days.
And you survived. Let me ask you, since you obviously you've done triathlons?
Not the Ironman, but I have, yes.
Okay. So for two 50-plus-year-old out-of-shape guys, would we last through a half day, an hour on the first day? I know we couldn't get through the first day, David. How long would the normal man take before he just passed out if he wasn't ready for what you did?
It's all about pace. If you want to just puddle and move your feet a little bit,
right,
and ride at a leisurely pace, you can do it.
My pacing, Andrew. My pacing, Andrew, is like a manatee.
Right. But you can get through it. It's just all about pace. And listen, I'm a pretty good athlete, but it's all like look to your left, look to your right theory. I see guys just roll by me, even in their 60s. It's amazing.
How do you think the owners will react if the players do not get on board this week? They still have 3 weeks until the next NFL business year starts. Do you think that they will grumble but continue to negotiate, or do you think they'll try to play the heavy hand?
Well, I think if we come out of the combine without a deal, the teams have to react, and they have to operate as the old deal. And they're really good. Not many changes, even if it's a new deal. But this idea of franchise and transition tag, in the last year of a deal, you can do both. If it's a new deal, you can only do one. But that's another deficiency in the new deal. I don't think they've given enough to change 2020. What they basically said is they're still going to have the 47% in 2020, but all these increases on minimum contracts, 100,000 increase on the minimums. And you pointed out earlier, the rank and file is loving that.
Sure.
So this is the way you do contracts from a management point of view. You throw out some early money, and people dive in. And I say don't fall for that, because frankly, it's the way teams do contracts. They give out big bonuses, and then they lock them in for 5-6 years at a good price. So we'll see.
Andrew, I want to switch gears from this to a specific team, because you wrote about this recently. The Jags doubling down, playing more games in London. Their owner, Mr. Khan, seems to keep telling the folk in Jacksonville, hey, in order to make this franchise viable, I need these games. I need this money. But we're the Jacksonville Jaguars. Whether it's the end of the decade, but sometime in this decade, do you see it just being the London Jaguars?
Well, I think we're back to the 17th game, because no one in the NFL has been able to tell me or anyone else how would that work. And one person said, well, you get 9 home games one year, 8 home games the next year. And people have talked about international. Now, if it goes international, you need a lot more international games. London's been is now up to 4. Can you get that to 8? So you got half your schedule in London, 16 teams. Each team goes every other year. That's probably the precursor to any team in London. So I just don't know if it's going to be a decade. But my point is, if and when there is a team in London, we know the first team in line raising their hand, right? There's no secret about that. They play there every year. and now they're doubling down. And I know they're spinning it for Jacksonville. Of course they are. I mean, what else are they going to say? But we know the team that would be in line if there's a London team. And like I said, if it goes to 8 games more now instead of 4, you can see them having 3, maybe 4 games over in London by that time. So that's what they jump into.
Andrew, thanks for being so generous with your time. We always appreciate your insights. Not only safe travels, best of luck with your athletic endeavors there, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
Thanks, guys.
Andrew Brandt, he's a columnist for the Monday Morning Quarterback, the MMQB.com, and his weekly podcast is The Business of Sports. Follow him on Twitter at Andrew Brandt, BRANDT. Boy, I felt even older, even fatter, even more out of shape, even though I think he's our age.
Yeah, he is. Yes, and yes. I agree with everything that you think about that right there.
It's down by you. Yeah,
the thought, I mean, I want everybody listening right now, because there's probably a couple of you that are listening, that sounds like a great idea. I'd love to do that.
Do what?
Go on a vacation where you work out for 4 days straight.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that sounds like hell.
I was going to say, it sounds like
Where's the it's the one time that I'd want to know, where's the buffet, David?
Where sounds like a new health club membership to me. I mean, we love you coming down to the 239, but I don't know that it's needed. Miller and Moulton. Combine tomorrow, big day. That's when the players meet amongst themselves and then reach out to the owners, and we'll see whether or not that, the power within the NFLPA allows the rank and file to even vote on this deal.
But Andrew is the first one who has really come out and said, hey, players, don't do this.
He sent tweets out in the middle to late last week in which he simply said, hey, players, can you answer me this one question? Do you think this is a really good deal for you if the owners are this excited about the deal? You and I have had many a political discussion off air. And one of the things I said to you back in the day about health care, when they're discussing a health care deal, when it's a good deal for us? When the insurance industry's against it. That's when this might be okay for us. But if the insurance industry's jumping up and down going, we really like this deal, that's probably when you need to go, I don't know that they're on our side.
David Sampson. We'll find out what side he's on with all of the cheating and the Astros being booed by their own fans at spring training.
Persona non grata, Mark. That's what they are. They're wearing a scarlet letter.
Yes, and it is the A for Astros. We'll talk with David Sampson about that next. Miller and Moulton. Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com. And you're looking live at our YouTube page, Miller and Moulton.
Receiving. Over.
Alexa, play Fox Sports FM on TuneIn.
LeBron has shown his greatness. Kevin Durant's a better player.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Smart speaker.
Are we cheering for idiots? What's going on?
Sounds more like a dumb speaker, am I right?
You're an idiot. Nice job.
Get Southwest Florida's sports talk delivered to your speaker.
This is easy.
Just say, Alexa,
hello.
Play Fox Sports FM on TuneIn.
Finally, something worthwhile.
I didn't think it was going to be this easy.
We are Fox Sports. Get your tickets now. Naples All-Star Events presents the Legends of Basketball. Meet and greet Monday, March 16th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Bo Camper's Sports Bar and Grill. Come and enjoy the company of NBA All-Stars, including Nate Archibald, Rick Barry, Phil Chenier, and Sam Jones. Your exclusive access not only includes the Hall of Famers, but an appetizer buffet, prizes, and more. VIP tickets give you the premium contact, including autographs and personal photo ops. A portion of the proceeds to benefit the Warrior-Centric Healthcare Foundation that provides necessary healthcare needs to military and veteran communities. Meet and greet the Legends of Basketball, March 16th at Bo Camper's Sports Bar and Grill, 8990 Fontana del Sol Way, Naples. Don't miss this opportunity to be with NBA All-Stars and Hall of Famers. It's the Legends of Basketball Meet and Greet. For more information and to get your exclusive ticket now, go to NaplesAllStarEvents.com.
If a car dealer asks you for your tax refund, don't do it. If you've made a deposit, get it back.
Gotta go to Galliana.
Other dealers want your tax refund at Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers. We don't need it. Right now, during the President's Day event, new Jeep Renegade Latitude, $189 per month. New Grand Cherokee Laredo, $269 per month. New Jeep Gladiator Sport 4x4, $279 per month. Over 1,100 Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams. All at the absolute best prices in Southwest Florida. Qualifying purchases with 0 down and no monthly payments till August. That's right, 0 down and no monthly payments till August. And exclusive of that offer, Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers will give you $6,000 minimum for any trade, in any condition, running or not, at Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 1/2 mile south of Daniels Parkway on US 41 in Fort Myers. Open every day, including Sunday. Call 239-481-2600. GallianaCars.com.
42 monthly, 10,000 miles per year, $999. Do it signed plus tax, stock, and dealer fees. 0 security deposit with lender approval. Minimum trade toward the purchase of select new vehicles. In stock units only. Offers don't combine.
Are you or a loved one suffering from alcohol addiction? Now you can obtain alcohol detox from the comfort of your own home with Tella Psychiatry Associates and their My Home Detox program. Get monitored by doctors 24/7 using their advanced technology. No in-home nursing or detox centers needed. It's private, affordable, and effective. Connect with our medical center and be on your way to recovery in a matter of days. Get clean discreetly and conveniently at myhomedetox.com. myhomedetox.com.
Do you like me? Like Miller and Moulton on Facebook. Just search Miller and Moulton.
Would you like that?
Have you or someone you know been taken advantage of or preyed upon by storm chasers who are out of the area contractors? Well, you're not alone. Hi, this is PJ, owner of Estate Roofing. With over 20 years of experience, I'm committed to quality products with outstanding service. I personally visit all the job sites, making sure every customer gets high-quality work done on time. Shingle, tile, or metal, we do it all. We're an Owens Corning preferred contractor with an impeccable track record. We understand the value of educating customers so you know what you're buying every step of the way. Having issues with getting your insurance claims paid? We'll help you manage insurance companies to get you paid or help you with financing if needed. Call me today to get a free 20-watt solar attic fan with your new roof. Call me at 692-9732. That's 692-9732. Or visit us online at estateroofing.com. That's ESTATE roofing.com. Estate Roofing. Roofing redefined.
Oh, love your new TV and the sound. It's amazing. But where are the speakers? It's like they're invisible.
They are invisible. It's the coolest new technology, and they're the best speakers on the market.
It's crazy. I've heard of wireless speakers, but invisible speakers? That's epic.
Epic Audio and Video invites you to experience invisible speakers for yourself. You won't believe your ears or your eyes. Visit Epic Audio Video Showroom on the corner of US 41 and Pine Ridge and Naples. Or
got your caller.
EpicAudioVideo.com.
Now back to Miller and Moulton.
All right, now we're getting somewhere.
No.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
.28 past 8 o'clock on this Monday morning, the final one in February in 2020. Thanks so much for being with us. Shelby Mass last hour, Andrew Brandt moments ago. They both joined us on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Law Firm hotline. Local people, local practice, local knowledge, goldberg-law.com, which is also where David Sampson joins us from. He talks baseball from the CBS family, and he's got a podcast as well. Follow David on Twitter at David P. Sampson. How is your podcast going?
It's going great. It's every day. It's there's no shortage of content. It's been like Christmas in February, I can tell you that.
I was going to say, everybody's doing a podcast, but you literally started it like an hour and a half before all hell broke loose in Major League Baseball. I mean, you must be looking and saying, you know, guys, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I held off for a year before I started this, so until you guys gave me enough material.
Well, so we cover all sports and giving people an idea of what goes on behind the scenes, because not too many people have been able to run a team for 18 years and then talk about it. But certainly what's going on in the baseball world gives me a lot to talk about.
Well, just from a handling standpoint, what would you have done differently if you were Rob Manfred?
You know, he was in such a tough position, right? Do you hear James Brown in the background, by the way? I am hearing a song by James Brown in the background.
Okay.
Wow.
That must be our board up. I don't know what you can do there, Giro, but
I was wondering whether that was just in my head.
At 8:30, I would say it's us. 7:30 hour, maybe it's you. The podcast, by the way, is Nothing Personal with David Sampson. Nothing personal. That is the podcast.
Yes, thank you. So Rob was just put in a tough position, and what people don't understand is that in order to do an investigation of people who are part of the union, you have to have the ability to punish those people you find guilty of any infraction. But when they're protected by a union, any punishment has to be negotiated. And if there's not going to be a positive end to a negotiation, a quick end to a negotiation, then you risk things being drawn out. And that's what was going to happen in this case. And Rob said, forget it. Let's give the players immunity. Let's get to the bottom of this and see if we can move past it. It just turned out to be much bigger than he thought. And the backlash, to me, has been much bigger than anyone anticipated on the union or player or management side.
Well, and David, I'm glad you brought us there quickly, because this, to us, is what's fascinating. Clearly, Manfred did not think that the players were going to turn on their fellow players the way they have, because then he could have conceivably done anything, and he could have done things more severely than he did, and he would be getting universal praise instead of universal scorn. But do you think, David, that Manfred could then, at this late date, essentially call a meeting and talk to his fellow owners and say, you know what, guys, turns out we got this wrong, and the players actually want us to go further, and while we can't punish the players because we made a deal, I think we need to punish the Astros further than what we did. Do you think basically Manfred, because of the players, could go to the fellow owners and say, hey, you know what, we need to maybe give ourselves a mulligan and penalize them further?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find 23 votes to do that on the ownership side. You need 23 out of 30 owners to approve such a increased punishment, shall I say. Unless there is new evidence that comes to light which shows any more culpability by Jim Crane, because he's been basically saying he had nothing to do with it. Baseball agreed that he had nothing to do with it. But if more evidence comes out that he actually did have something to do with it, that he was aware of it, participated in it, then you could have a opening to look at this again. But right now, the reason you won't get owners to vote for them to reopen it and punish the Astros as a team or the owner, Jim Crane as the owner, is that there's a lot of teams living in glass houses right now. And I think the most important thing when the commissioner talks to the 30 owners, which he has, is they all have to be on the same page about moving forward with the game. But I want to go back to one thing you said about players attacking players. In my 18 years, I never saw anything like it. And the commissioner came out and said in his 30 years, he's never seen anything like it. I never thought I'd live to see the day when players would criticize each other the way they have.
And on both sides, David. I mean, you know, Friars hasn't taken really any praise. I mean, you have from Ortiz still coming out after him and other players. I mean, this is the part of this that I find fascinating, is that there is very little consistency on either side of what they think should have been done. I mean, you have players coming against players. You have other players defending players. And then you have, you know, like Dusty Baker say, hey, they're going to throw in our guys. This can't happen. You can't let the guys police the game like that. But it does lead to a season where this is going to be a different season than we've ever seen, at least the first few months. Because I think the way the Astros are going to get treated on the road, I don't know if we've ever seen anything like it in American sports.
Yeah, I don't think that this goes away anytime soon. My only hope is that once the Red Sox investigation is over, I hope that MLB can release a report that says it's done. We've looked at all 30 teams. We have come up with the results of this investigation. We're punishing the Red Sox in the following way, and that's the end of it. And after that, I hope that no players stand up and say, wait a minute, what about this? What about that? in terms of how the Astros have been treated, there have been teams who have been hated before, teams who have been booed on the road before, teams who are less than popular, shall I say. That said, this will be the biggest story of the year because no team in history, in my opinion, has been loathed the way the Astros are loathed, and how they deal with that is going to be very interesting.
Well, I'm of the belief, and we're talking with David Sampson, former president of the Marlins, and now he works for CBS Sports HQ. His daily podcast is called Nothing Personal. I believe that the Astros are going to crumble to some degree behind the weight of all of this, and that the only way they don't is if they get off to a tremendous start in April, and then this way they can stick their chests out and say, see, told you, okay, we didn't have to cheat to be good, and then maybe people back off. But if they're 500, if players who have excelled are hitting 20 to 40 points less than what they normally do, we all know what's going to be said and how they're going to be treated going forward. David, I don't think they hold up to the weight of this. I mean, they may still win 88, 92 games, but, you know, the Indians won 93 last year and didn't make the playoffs in the American League. I actually don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
I'm actually choosing them, I think, and I haven't come out with my exact predictions, but I may choose them to be in the World Series, and I'll tell you why. They may have stolen signs. They may have banged on trash cans. They may have done all these things that gave them an advantage. All of that is likely true. However, the talent on the roster, the biggest change from last year to this year is the absence of Garrett Cole. And the question I'm really wrestling with regarding their on-field results this year involves Zach Greinke and whether or not he can actually be a reliable number 2 starter. From a position player standpoint, those guys are really good. And don't forget that baseball players are different than you and I. When they get off to a bad start in April, or they're hitting 20 points below their career average, or they're 10 games below 500 in May, they don't panic the way fans do and the way some front offices do, because it's a long season and the cream rises. Look at the Nationals last year. They were going to fire their manager, we thought, and they were 19-31, I think, and they end up winning the World Series. You know very well it's a long season.
Well, it certainly is. With how this is going with Boston, why is it taking so long in your estimation? Do you think Manfred has more? You know, you mentioned that there's some new evidence came to light. Part of what you've said is that, you know, you hope after the Red Sox we can start going forward. Well, the problem and why this is dragged on is that we still don't seem to be closer to getting resolution. And I know that's hurting this, but do you believe Manfred has more? And how much tougher can he be with Boston than he was with Houston?
I think he'll be less tough on Boston because he's going to find less. But the reason why it's taking longer, it's a double-edged sword. If he, remember what I said earlier, in my opinion, the reason it's taking so long, he wants to release a report that ends this. If he had come out the next day and said, here's what the Red Sox did, here's what Cora did, what if 4 days after that, more evidence comes to light? Someone with the Yankees speaks out. Someone with the Minnesota Twins speaks out. I'm just making up teams. The point is, you want to get to the place where you can release the end of your investigation, release the report that says, okay, we've now taken an extra 2 months. We've looked at everything. We've examined everything. Because just last week, word came out from the GM of the Oakland A's that they complained to the league about the Astros in 2016, and no investigation was done. Well, Rob Manfred has to stop that narrative. He has to investigate every tiny complaint of everything and then release a report. That's my opinion.
How bad do you think, as a baseball guy, this was? I mean, the commissioner, when releasing his findings on the Astros, said cheating. That's a pretty strong word to those of us who cover sports. And fans certainly have reacted very negatively once the commissioner said the Astros cheated. But inside baseball, you're still a baseball guy. How big of a deal is this to you, what they did?
it's way less than you'd think, and it's become more simply because of the PR backlash and the mistakes made by Jim Crane during his apologetic press conference, which was a disaster. The mistakes made by the commissioner during his press availability and his interview on ESPN and what he said about the trophy. There have been things that have happened that have basically created this mushroom cloud, whereas everybody inside the game, we all knew the Astros were stealing signs. We were all trying to do the same thing. And the fact that they had better algorithms than we did, the fact that they were so brazen as to use trash cans, it's because they had a reputation and we all thought of them as holier than thou. We were all excited when they got taken down because that front office and that owner always acted like they were the smartest people in the room. So from an owner's standpoint or a president's standpoint, it was good. They got theirs. Let's move on now. The problem is all the other stuff happened that's now put a bit of a black cloud over the sport.
He's David Samson, CBS Sports, CBSSports.com, CBS Sports HQ, his podcast, Nothing Personal, and it is available in the usual places. David, thanks for making time for us. All the best.
Can't wait for the next time. Have a great morning.
David Samson joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton, and he did so on the Goldberg, New and Abraham Law Firm Hotline, goldberg-law.com. You can follow David on Twitter at David, the letter P, Samson, and that's Samson, Samson.
Yeah, I really think Manfred, there's no month of his life he'd want back more than the last one.
And it really sounds like he can't do anything more. As David Samson pointed out, he'll never get enough owners to agree to let him say, hey, guys, I need a mulligan. If for no other reason than those owners are like, yeah, I don't know what's ever going to be found underneath my roof. And I don't want you to be able to take 2-3 whacks at me, if you know what I mean. You just get one shot. And we all know that he gave the players a deal, and he can't go back on it.
Right. But the fact that to take away a World Series, he doesn't have the power to do that. I mean, that's...
Well, he did.
But he doesn't
but
now.
Now he'd have to get permission to do it.
Right. Now that he's rendered a decision, he can't go back retroactively and change said decision.
Correct.
He had hand. He didn't use it.
I mean, every commissioner, it's the old, in the best interest of baseball. You could take that, we're dealing with this in politics now with executive orders. Doesn't matter what party's in the White House. In the last 20 years, we've seen a ton of executive orders in which presidents have said, yeah, I got more power than you think. And the commissioner with the best interest in baseball, I mean, if they get a commissioner one day that just really wants to be, all powerful, I see myself as Mountain Landis 100 years later, they could press the envelope, see how far they can get with it. If you think about it, it's a pretty broad clause. You can act in the best interest of baseball. Says who? Me.
Me.
That's a pretty good clause.
Got to be honest, there aren't two people that want to be commissioner more in the world than you and I.
I just want a day. I can get a lot done in a day. I really can. Be a busy day. A lot of memorandums. Okay, they come back the next day and they go, man, this is a lot of paperwork.
We've got to get rid of this guy fast, but he certainly accomplished it. We can't even undo what he did in these last 4 or 5 hours.
We gave him 24 hours? Why couldn't we give him like 3? Like Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and what's on tap.
To finish off these 3 hours that they give us every morning between 6 and 9.
I like the way you said finish there, with this being the 40th anniversary of us playing Finland. Like the way you went finish.
I
like that. Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
I mean, there's so many different things that are attached to this. Imagine if you're a pitcher and you're facing the Astros and you pitch inside. You might not get a warning. You might get run because if a pitch gets away from you, are you trying to hit an Astros hitter? And that's going to be really unfair to some pitchers here. Hey, are you throwing inside? That's just another element attached to this.
Dan Patrick.
And here they are.
Weekdays at 9 a.m. on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
C4MH.com. Dr. Jim D. Raspino from C4MH in Frank's Garage today, talking about New Year's resolutions. It seems like every year we want to turn over a new leaf, right? We're going to eat healthier, we're going to get to the gym, and then come February 1st, what? Nothing? And most guys say, I just don't have any energy.
But guys, before you spend a ton of money on a gym membership and a personal trainer, go to C4MH.com. We have an express treatment program that will get you over $400 of blood tests, including total and free testosterone, and an in-office doctor consultation for only $45.
I'm a patient at C4MH, and it's safe, convenient, and affordable. Best part is, now I've got the energy to follow through with that New Year's resolution.
Exactly. Your workouts become super energized. Your $45 gets you information about the state of your body.
So guys, give yourself the gift of testosterone replacement therapy at C4MH.com. The leaders in low T care, and make your resolution this year a successful one.
No matter where you're boating, with Towboat US, you're covered by the world's largest towing fleet with over 300 ports nationwide. Your local Towboat US companies in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties are here to help 24/7, 365 days a year. Inland, the river to Lake O, and out 75 nautical miles. And new member specials are running all year. Call 239-945-1664 for more information, or visit towboatuscapecoral.com. With Towboat US, you're never stuck on the water.
If you've been denied Social Security benefits, here's something you need to know. The law firm you choose makes a big difference. In fact, Morgan & Morgan wins more than the national average in recovering Social Security for clients that were denied. That means that when you hire our lawyers, you have a better chance of recovery than with the average lawyer. And that's a really big deal. If you were denied Social Security benefits, call us. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Dial pound law on your cell. Pound law, that's all.
Offices, Fort Myers, and
94.1 Fort Myers. We are Buffalo.
Are you or a loved one suffering from alcohol addiction? Now you can obtain alcohol detox from the comfort of your own home with Tella Psychiatry Associates and their My Home Detox program. Get monitored by doctors 24/7 using their advanced technology. No in-home nursing or detox centers needed. It's private, affordable, and effective. Connect with our medical center and be on your way to recover in a matter of days. Get clean discreetly and conveniently at myhomedetox.com. myhomedetox.com.
Pool need a checkup? Call the doctor, the Pool Doctor.
Hi, Dr. Mark here. LED color-changing pool lights can create an after-dark backyard oasis. Pick your color or select one of the light shows. You can see how dramatic it really is on our website. We're a family company, and for over 40 years, we've been doing business right.
The prescription is the Pool Doctor for award-winning pool service, repairs, and unheard of $39 diagnostic calls. That's mypooldoctor.com or 239-574-1133. State certified CPC 057088.
From the best headlines,
The best.
to the worst,
It's the worst thing that ever happened to anybody ever.
prepare yourself and hide the women and children. This is Mark Miller's Good, Bad, and Ugly on Fox Sports Radio.
Your life.
I think a lot of people have seen this story by now, but there was a boy in Australia with dwarfism, and he was been bullied, and it was a awful video about this kid being bullied, but it went viral, and a GoFundMe page has now been picked up $500,000 to send this young boy from Australia to Disneyland.
Well, the kid basically said he wanted
to kill himself. Yeah,
and yeah, people reacted. First time I saw it, Sean Salisbury retweeted it, and then also sent a heartfelt message. And yeah, the reaction's been great. You told me about, is it Burger King?
The Burger King ad
I've
is
yet to see
spectacular on bullying. They literally, I think, paid 3 high school kids, 2 kids to bully another kid, in front of customers in an actual Burger King store. And at the time, they're asking people if they want their Whoppers bullied, and they're kind of looking at them, and the guy in the back is smashing these Whoppers, and they're bringing people out, and they're of course complaining about the food. And it was like 90-some-odd% people complained about their bullied Whopper. Only 13% complained about the kid being bullied. Remarkable and awful and scary all at the same time. For the bad, this is kind of quirky, David. Maybe this is why we're in the business. Maybe this happened to us, we didn't realize it, but an Illinois family can't figure out why their 9-year-old daughter's bedroom has been picking up a local radio station for years. Richard Smith said the voice and music repeatedly heard inside the wall in his daughter Brianna's room. He determined something in the wall was picking up a local AM radio station. Radio station sent an engineer out to investigate, but the engineer was unable to identify the issue. Gotta be honest with you, I don't know what's acting as a speaker. There's nothing I can explain as to why you're hearing it. They can't figure it out. But the walls, they are a talking, David. You know, if it was an AM that had baseball, it would be great.
Sounds like the basis of a horror movie right there.
Really does.
If these walls could talk. We are runner on third. 2 outs. 2-2 count. The 2-2 pitch.
Hang on, where's the trash can? Sorry, and finally the ugly. We go to North Carolina.
Line drive, base hit.
Where 9-year-old Colton Decker got a magnet fishing pole for Christmas. And he and Dad went out to use the pole in a local river. 15 minutes into it, they caught something. They thought like it was maybe a tennis ball. It wasn't a tennis ball. It was a live grenade.
Snap.
Fortunately, Colton's father was a retired special operations soldier who knew where to get help and how to get help. Fort Bragg bomb expert Staff Sergeant Drew Dobbs was called out to safely detonate the grenade. Nobody was hurt and no fish were caught.
What would you have done? Because I would have just
left. I'd dropped the pole and left.
Wouldn't have thrown it back where it came?
No, because I'd be afraid it'd blow up. I'd set it down gently and I'd get the hell out of there. And that, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly. This 24th of February, this is 2020. 87%, David, said keep doing it.
Close the door when you go because I don't want those mosquitoes coming in here.
Did I ever tell you about this pig that's...
Mark told the pig story last hour. I said, A, he's not allowed to mention it again, and B, you can't give me a hard time about anything.
$42,500 for a pig in 1979. That's some expensive bacon.
Well, that's true. Didn't think of it that way. Maybe I should have the first time around. All right. Pretty good night of college basketball. Louisville, Florida State in the ACC, 7 o'clock on ESPN. And Kansas, likely to be new number 1 Kansas. The poll will come out in a few hours. Kansas hosting Oklahoma State, 9 o'clock on ESPN. West Virginia is taking on Texas on ESPNU at 7. And there is a Big Ten game, although I don't know how much of one it will be. Nebraska, which is lousy, is visiting Illinois, 8 o'clock, Big Ten Network. NBA, both the Heat and Magic are on the road tonight. Miami and Cleveland at 7. Orlando is in Brooklyn at 7:30. Your NBA TV doubleheader. Hawks in Philly, Grizzlies at the Clippers. If Memphis loses their lead over New Orleans for the final playoff spot, will be reduced to just 3. Telling you, this Memphis, which young, exciting group of players do you want to see in the playoffs to take on, in all likelihood, the Lakers? Do you want to see Ja Morant and the Grizz, or do you want to see Zion and the Pels?
No, I want to see Zion.
Yeah, I think
because
most do.
You want to see the muscle against the young muscle against LeBron.
It's not going to happen, but what I think the NBA and most fans would want is this Oklahoma City team doesn't have a whole lot of star power, and even though they're having a terrific year, I think most people would like to see them fade away and have both young teams take on the 2 LA teams, if you will, in the playoffs. But
would be great for middle-of-the-country basketball. I mean, New Orleans and Memphis, for people to focus on some teams they don't normally get to see.
But Oklahoma City is like a dozen games above 500, so that's not going to happen. So that's your NBA TV doubleheader. Memphis at the Clips at 10:30. 2 hockey games, or actually there's only 1 hockey game tonight, period, in the league. It's Ottawa at Columbus. But what is noteworthy is the trade deadline's 4 o'clock. We should have an over-under right now. We had an overnight trade.
The Red Wings already dealt somebody this morning.
While we were on the air? Was that the Mike Green deal to Edmonton? That went down last night.
That was last night.
So from this point forward, we got about 7 hours left. Over under 12.5.
Oh, over.
Yeah, this is the NHL.
The NHL. I mean,
they love their trades. They really do. They love it more than firing coaches, and that's saying a lot because they fire about 6 to 8 a year. So, over under 12.5, we're going more than 12.5 trades.
Yes.
We have 7 hours.
Right.
That's aggressive by us. I like it, though.
You're going over.
Damn right I am. Hell, I got 4 of them in my head alone. And that is what's on tap. Miller and Moulton on this Monday.
If you have a chance today and you missed any of the show, our Connecticut cast is where you listen to what you missed.
Right.
And on that, you will hear about fish sticks. David Moulton's fish sticks that apparently Doc Ford sells, but they're not fish sticks, they're fish fingers.
Correct.
But what I'm asking of everybody today, I want Doc Ford's to run out of fish fingers. I want everybody that can to walk in and say, hey, I heard this Moulton guy talking. Where are the fish sticks? And I want everybody to order fish sticks at Doc Ford's today and see if we can run them out of fish fingers by 2 p.m.
I think they're terrific. I think it's one of the 3 best values for appetizers in Southwest Florida. I really do.
You know what? That is the way you eat.
Yeah.
That is your basis for a great meal. Is it good? And do I get a lot of it for a price?
Absolutely. Used to be Stevie Tomato's chicken strips. You used to get 6, and they were like $6.99. Now you get 5, and they're like $8. They're still tremendous, but the value used to be incredible. Now it's just very good. This, to me, is now up there with the best quality of food and best value. 5 thick fish
sticks.
Sticks, fingers, strips, whatever you call them. And they're like $8.99. I'm telling you, they're tremendous. They're tremendous. Enough food, it's a meal for a lot of people. For me, it's, it's not even a snack.
I could have 5 more fingers and then order dinner.
I was going to say 2 of those in a meal, and then, you know what? I'm almost done.
Fish sticks, people. Fish stick. The word of the day is fish sticks. Telling you that right. Any chance you get today to just look at someone and go, fish sticks, I suggest you do it. Dan Patrick is next. Thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton, Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com.
Get your tickets now. Naples
All right, you guys
All-Star
have a good day.
Events
See you
presents
See you later. Great
Legends of
job.